Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 337 of Spittin' Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka and the Barstool Sports podcast family. What's going on, gang? We're still here in Boston, hanging on. Barely, you can probably hear it in our voices a little bit, but we're having fun. We did a couple of live stream watch parties at Hurricanes at the Garden, Bruins at Islanders split up here. But let's say hi to the boys, see how everybody's feeling. A lot of traveling lately.
Can I hop in here?
Yeah,
Could that have been the most off the glass and out? Hello, everybody. He was like, hello, everybody.
If you saw the live streams, we're lucky he's in the lineup. So this guy's ready to come. I mean, you got to be prepared. You got to play guilty. He's playing guilty, but he was definitely like, hello, everybody. It was like a mixture of a cigarette and a hello, everybody.
Out of the trash can, like Oscar the Grouch.
I wasn't hitting the long one, so I had a short, and I haven't done a short one for a while, Biz. I know you're watching.
That's my entire career, buddy. No shame in that.
Yeah, whatever. You got to do what you got to do. Gee, how you feeling, buddy? You've been doing a lot of traveling.
I feel great. Yeah, the traveling continues tomorrow. Staying up all night. I'm gonna pat my back here a little bit. I'm gonna stay up all night tonight and edit, and then I'm gonna get in a car tomorrow morning. My girlfriend's gonna drive me back to New York, and then we're going to Borelli's, baby. We're storming Borelli's like Normandy.
This has been crazy, like the run that you guys are on, and it's been a blast. The last couple games in Boston, Game 3 was obviously a lot better because Boston ended up winning. Yes, I'm partially back on the bandwagon if you guys will accept me. But just the energy in the city, the playoff hockey, Frankie coming into the Lions' Den and squeaking one out in Game 4. All the people that showed up to Hurricanes the last couple games, guys, it has been an absolute blast. Thank you to everybody at Barstool who set this up. And it's great to be back in the mix, Whit.
Yeah, the playoffs are great here. We learned that with the Blues run. I think we went to Hurricanes then, too. We did some radio. The past few nights have been wild. I mean, that first game with Frankie coming in there, it had to take a lot of balls. I swear I thought somebody was going to drill him. And when they won Game 4, I can't believe nobody threw something at him. I'm very happy we had a solid fan base. We didn't have any issues. Frankie got out of there alive, but the atmosphere in there and the bullying we got to do to him made that night so special. I'm pointing at his face. R.A.'s mucking pasta right in his grin. And I couldn't believe the fact that he was like technically okay after the game. I thought he'd be a mess. He had the towel around his neck. But still, the whole night was awesome. Both nights. The Saturday night got even better. R.A. on Thursday night
carried the team.
No, it was like it all came together. You know?
And then you carried me.
At some point in your adult life, you're like, it happened.
He's Carey Price. He was Carey Price. It's all coming together at the right time.
It's all coming. Yeah,
it's boring. Like, it's boring, but it's coming together.
I knew this day would come. It was the day on the town, cooking the meat in the back with my bald head, and then the next thing you know, he's leading chants, and 400 people are chanting, "All right, all right." So congrats to you, R.A., on an MVP performance.
So now you can pat his back too. So G's got a pat back, and now R.A.'s got one. Now, should we talk about that Game 3 and the OT winner, which I got.
Yeah, let's a couple other things here before we pass it along. Yeah, like you mentioned, the fans, everyone who came out, it's rare to have that many drunk Boston people not misbehave. I think maybe one or two people might have got thrown out in the 2 nights.
I got hit with a salt shaker, but we'll leave it at that.
I
think it was somebody was trying to hit Frankie.
I think my buddy was one of the ones that got the boo.
That was Pasha. But no, everybody was very well behaved. Also, like you just said, thanks to all the staff who comes here and helps us do this for Barstool, and also thanks to the staff at Hurricanes. They were awesome. From the bouncers, the door guys, the bartenders, the waitresses, they were fantastic. Just an epic thing, and I'm also going to be joining him at Burley's. Yeah.
Sorry, Game 4, there was an issue with Tank Top guy, though.
No, hold on. No, the thing. I'll say
not
this.
My kid, by the way, not my kid. I am not the father.
Oh yeah, you do look a lot like that kid.
Dude, he said he was 28. I wiped my brow.
He was actually a good guy. He got dragged online because of that one moment. But those kids, all the guys that were behind us for both nights, were great guys.
Yeah.
They were big fans of the show and they wanted to enjoy it. So we just, I had to give him the old hey. It's like the father. I gave him the father. Hey, I'm
going to take that iPad out
I'll
of your
turn this car around right now. So great people, though, like you said. I was going to bring up, we had volume issues. Hurricanes back for Game 6. We'll get a little better. It did get better and louder, but at the beginning, and it brought up the discussion, if you don't have volume, you can't watch a game. If you're ever in a bar with no volume, you don't end up watching the game. It's crazy how you need the volume to intently watch a game. Is intently the word?
Yes, it is.
I'm crushing it right now. To intently watch a game, you need volume. That's just a random thought I need because
most traditional sports bars will put music on the TV timeouts. And whenever it is, like commercial breaks, and then as soon as the game comes back on, it's right back to the game, full volume, everybody's fucking dialed.
Remember that place, High Tops in Pittsburgh? Shout out High Tops. I don't even know if it's still around near the baseball
Diesel?
stadium. No, Diesel
Was
was
it
the club.
inside Diesel? Oh, then I don't know what it is.
We just had a room for rent at Diesel. So we'd go to this place. Sorry to get off topic. It was Pittsburgh Steelers games. During the game, during the play, they would pump the volume, like you're saying, maximum.
Yeah, you'd be in the huddle.
You feel like Jim Nance is in your eardrum.
They would miss Roethlisberger jock sweat in the misters in the bar during the play.
So
it's like you're live in the action. And if you wanted to, they'd put a needle in your ass in the back if you were dealing with any pain issues.
Just an HCH guy. All right, yeah, let's move on. So listen, then when they would go to commercial, like you said, it wouldn't just be music. They were pumping music that would get people going.
Oh, yeah.
So at that point, everyone's dancing.
Pitbull?
I'm not dancing. And they'd be throwing out shots. So that was the legendary
the Bob
sports
McKenzie
bar.
mix? The Pitbull?
No, you don't chirp Gretzky. That's the Bob McKenzie mix.
All right. Some great photos, like standard photography, pictures that will post online, epic stuff. A lot of hanging out in the Louvre.
Maybe the best picture that's ever been taken in my life. And then Frankie got the ultimate, probably like framed in his office. Does he have an office?
We'd get him up quicker, but Whit wants him like face blasted.
I'm like, hey, can you please make my skin look not as white? Like Grinelli's like, I gotta post this thing. He's doing the airbrush.
Get the Kylie Jenner filter on there with the lips popping like Halsey.
One fan's like, you're soft. I'm like, what do you mean soft? Like playing? He's like, no, your body's soft. I go, yeah, dude, I'm 40 years old. I go, you're 22. You're gonna be a butterball when you're my age. He kind of respected it, but right to my face, like, dude, you got a soft body.
Yeah, hey,
just look like I'm trying to take a pee, dude.
He's not walking 18 every day now.
That was the only thing I had. I was pissing.
Exactly.
And I look over and, he didn't have a name down because the barriers. Dude's like, oh, Ray, and he had the phone. But I goes, really, fucking dude? Like, come on, man. Like, let me fucking piss in peace. Bad enough I get fucking stage fright because I can't go in the stall because everyone thinks you're up to no good if you try to piss in the stall.
I usually let fans take pictures of my horn.
It's all about the Snapchat. It's all about the Snapchat now. Every kid, hey, let's take a snap. So I just started every time. I'm just giving the piece.
Yeah.
I just give the piece.
Oh, you turned into the
I just give
guy?
the deuces. I'm just like, deuces. Every pick, I'm like, deuces. I kind of like it. It's my move.
I do the Don Cherry thumbs up. I do the peace sign. Why? Would you? I can't do the thumbs up.
No, I just laugh.
It's just like,
yeah. I just opened my new business, posing in front of it.
I like it.
love you,
no, we're good. Hey, so let's talk about the game. So the overtime. Oh, I got to throw it back over to our
real quick. We got to hit up your local liquor store to grab the 375 milliliter Mickey-sized Pink Whitney's biz. You know that. Enjoy it when your team scores or when they get bounced out of the playoffs.
The cough.
To drown your sorrows at the pregame or the after party. Make it Pink Whitney again, and the new Mickey-sized 375 milliliter in biz. Now we can go to Game 3. Marchand, overtime winner. That's what at least they told me the next morning. What do you got?
The nose face killer on which was when it went in, everybody kind of reacted to it, and I was like,
no, I reacted first. I reacted. I didn't know the next morning, dude.
No, I was legit. There was such a bad angle, I didn't know that it went in. Even though everyone was screaming around me, I wanted to see the replay.
Someone did you dirty for the next game poster for the live watch party. That was the picture they used of him. When he's
dude, whoever's posting those does me dirty all the time.
That's dirty.
Dude, the last picture I had, I looked like Jabba the Hutt with 74 trims when I was laughing.
You got to get on my
Sorry.
face touch-up program. You got to just hire somebody. It's quick, easy money.
Find a better picture.
So the game, the way he scored, it was so brutal as if you're an Islanders fan, because Varlamov was outstanding. He was like, holy shit. We said at one point, by far and away, the best player in that game. And then you give up one that you got to stop. And there was no question whatsoever they were going to go back to Sorokin, but it was a shitty taste in your mouth for him and the team because he kept you in that game. And then at the end, I know it's a tricky shot, but you got to save that puck.
It felt like a game that the Islanders were going to steal, which I kind of felt how it was in Game 4, which was an absolute cage match, by the way. Could we talk about Chris Hemsworth? Matt Martin just putting an absolute fucking beat down on Tenorti, which I'll tell you this, though, given with the insertion of Tenorti, who's out right now? Miller with the upper body?
And Carlo, which is
this is
huge loss.
Big time. This is playing a major factor in the series.
Can't win the Cup without Carlo. That's my set.
No, it's a fact.
Okay, I'm going to go back to my point is as Tenorti as the sixth defenseman to get that exchange, because I think that fourth line for the Islanders has been extremely effective. And I don't know why you're giggling like that, but we talk about the more chippiness going on in that game. The 4 cross checks to Barzal on Krejci. and then he gives him one back, and then also a bag tap, which I said, I think that's fucking even money. It was fucking gross the whole night. You saw the Barzal cross-check to Lazar. Was it Lazar's? And originally, I think Boston was assuming that they were going to get a 5-minute major there. And they were barking for it, but after review, it was only...
That wasn't a 5-minute major.
No,
but
he got him in the shoulder, but fuck, did it look vicious.
Yeah, it did. And we were talking about how it's instinct to protect yourself, but you have to be smart enough where you're just protecting yourself low and you're getting him at least
get him in
rib.
the liver or the spleen.
If you get him in the spleen, he's going to go like this, but the ref won't see a head snap back. I disagree with you. I understand the cross-checks you could have called, but... You have to call that. If you spear a guy in the balls, you got a $5,000 fine. So if you get a guy like that, they're calling it every single time. And the cross-checks, if Krejci had really gone down and sold it, maybe he gets it. But, right, he was just, like, bouncing off of it.
I think if you're tough enough to take 4 deliberate cross-checks right to the side there, and then you deliver one back, and I think he got one back after he reacted to it, I mean, yeah, maybe.
It's just the look of the spear to the
balls.
balls.
It's the hole in the nuts.
It was
you see the replay, and every guy watching him in the hockey, they're like, "Oh!"
Yeah. If one guy who's in control of his stick, it's Krejci. He knows exactly how hard he was going to tap that bag, and he got it the perfect amount. He dropped them. He said, "Cross-check me one more fucking time. I'll scoop them both out with the fucking with the sandpaper finish on the toe."
What were we just mentioning?
Halsey
goes after Scott Mayfield. He asked for that fight. Got all of a sudden the crowd in Hurricanes went bananas. Mayfield obviously got the best of him, but good play by Halsey looking to get the team going. And I don't know what had happened prior in the shift or in another game in the series, but that was interesting to see as a start to that game.
That Mayfield kid.
Maybe not a start. When was that?
He's kind of like a Carlo. Very, very hard to play against. He's very steady. Anytime there's a fucking scrum, he's willing to stand up to any guy. And I even said it, Boston is kind of lacking that one guy who can step in there. Who did they have when they went on that cup run? The guy from the East Coast in Canada. He was a defenseman.
I did.
He was an undercover tough guy, but they had him in the lineup.
Oh, Adam McQuaid.
Oh, McQuaid.
Right? And
awesome.
I feel with missing Miller and Carlo together, it kind of equates to that, okay, now they got a bit of an answer. And guys, they're willing to exchange for maybe guys like a Mayfield or a Martin, where it's it's slim pickings now without those guys in the lineup. And shout out to Torrey for stepping up and taking Matt Martin out of it. Chris, a.k.a. Chris Hemsworth, who I would imagine fucking how many girls are hitting the lightsaber to that guy going toe-to-toe on the NBC broadcast.
No, there's just every woman Islanders fan.
I was making sure my girl was locking eyes with me.
Go off.
Hey, I was making sure my girl was locking eyes with me when that was going on. I didn't want to catch a glimpse of that man rocket.
Yeah, so the Islanders are doing exactly what they try to do every single game. Both those games, they were doing it throughout the second period. They're just slowing it down. They're making it moments where we're like, this is a little boring. But you know what? Both teams are so good defensively that we said last night 3 or 4 times, you need a turnover to get a chance. You need a fluky play because 5-on-5, they're checking so good. The gap's good. You're not creating in the offensive zone. You're just almost playing give and go to each other. I'm telling you, how much was the play just back and forth? And nothing really was getting accomplished. And all of a sudden, that Barzal, it's crazy bounce. Nobody sees the puck besides him, it looked like.
Baseball bat
he bats
swing.
it in.
I mean,
because Tuukka was great in Game 4.
Yeah. I mean, how do you fault the goalie on that? I mean, the puck gets deflected, you lose it, and it's a baseball swing. Back to Halsey, that was his first fight in 10 years, the graphic said.
Somebody asked me if it was his first fight ever. I was like, I don't think so, but I didn't remember one.
Yeah, first
there
one
was another one.
10 years.
Yeah, one in Edmonton then.
Yeah, it would have been Edmonton. I don't know who he fought, but there was actually a
Halsey
Halsey
me in
chant.
practice. He dummied me.
It was actually they started a chant in the bar the other night, and then conversely, we had the opposite of that when David Pasternak missed wide open.
Yeah.
I mean, beyond wide open. Hits the post.
Guys, I miss those all the time, so that was nothing to me. But you said you got a text from Matt Molson.
No, Frankie was showing me that. Frankie said to me right away, is that going to affect him? I said, he's a shooter. He's coming down. He's doing the same thing next shift. I don't think so. Mentally, yeah, you're probably a little rattled, but he's so good at scoring, it won't. I don't think it will. But then he said, yeah, this could change the series, though. Something like that's so bizarre. Of course, they go on to win. And then all of a sudden he says, I just got a text from Matt Molson. I wouldn't sleep for a week if that happened to me. And he scored 30 goals a couple times. So no doubt it's rattling. It was shocking. I saw my face on the one of the posts. I couldn't believe it because he could have stopped it. He could have stick handled it once and buried it. It was that wide
Which is
open.
rare. In the NHL, you don't have that time. That's why that's why the release happens right there. And the worst part about it is on that shot, he's fading away from the net a little bit. So it was lying there for that split second where if you're more heading towards the net, you have a chance to pounce at that and at least tap it in with like a extended stick. Maybe not Mark Scheifele, but I know Pasta would have done the extended stick. Which is was that a low blow?
No.
I ain't writing nasty stuff to his family on Twitter.
What the fuck? We'll get into that later. So I said Bruins in 7. I think it's going to go 7. I picked the next 3 home winners. I don't know though. Like if the Island, this is what they do. If next game it's 1-1 or 2-2, and they're just slowing it down, all of a sudden they get the one chance and it's in the net. So the Bruins by no means. I don't think they should be worried because I think overall they're the better team, but it's exactly where Islanders fans hoped it would be after 4.
And back to Barzal, that was a guy I said, he hasn't really made his impact yet on these playoffs like we needed to see from him, right? And what's he do? He sets up the first one to Palmieri. Was that who scored
Kyle
it?
Palmieri tied
I didn't
it
even
at
know
one.
that
couldn't
one
do
went
anything
in.
on that one either. That was just bang bang play.
Boom.
He was the best player in the icing game for him.
And then he gets the curtain call and the fans. And then who was it Clark Gillies in the crowd?
Yes.
Who ended up slamming a beer and then crushing it over his head like Dana Beers, yeah. Wow. So the Islanders, man,
That's
I'll tell you,
off.
all the momentum in their favor right now.
As far as the miss by Pasta, I mean, the Bruins did get a 1-0 lead. Then they had a chance to go up 2-0. The Islanders challenged that, lost the challenge. So, I mean, it's a squandered opportunity for the Bees there. And, like I said, Pasta.
I know, but we're trying to drop the drama. We're trying to sell this thing already.
We still got this.
Fucking Buzz Killington over here.
Still got this thing.
You.
I like this.
I
like being not a part of the little rivalry within an episode. Right now, it's Biz and RA. They got a little thing going, and I'm sitting on the sideline.
I like getting them going sometimes.
Yeah. All right. Moving right along to the next series. First, though, most guys have tried different ways to last longer, but thinking about playoff stats and trophy finalists doesn't always work. Well, the folks at Roman, an online men's health company, are changing the game with Roman Swipes, the secret to longer lasting sex. Roman Swipes are a clinically proven way to last longer in bed. They're effective, easy to use, and fast-acting, and they do not require a prescription, the best part. Roman can ship swipes to you in discreet, unmarked packaging, and each swipes packet is small enough to hide in your wallet for whenever you need it. They're super easy to use. Just take the swipes out of the packet, swipe it on, let it dry, and you're good to go. That's it. So go to getroman.com/chiclets, and you get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose a monthly plan. That's getroman.com/chiclets. Highly recommended.
Now you're snapping around, making some plays here.
Oh, yeah.
Smart, man. You came in, you played it safe, and then you're snapping around. Like Krejci with the bag tap.
All right, Montreal, Winnipeg up next, but big news regarding those two teams. We probably know who's going to move on at this point, but Canada, this is under no doy. Canada is going to allow whatever team wins the North Division to travel to the United States and allow the team in the America to travel to Canada, however many rounds it needs. Players will have to go through daily COVID testing and be in a modified bubble. They can't have contact with the public, but either way, looks like it's going to be Montreal that's going to be visiting the States at some point.
So the Leafs aren't coming to Arizona?
Do you think?
the Leafs
it was Dallas, Nashville, Arizona. Leafs are they're out. But I can't believe that. Well, actually, I shouldn't say I can't believe. I wonder if you asked the players if they would have much rather had a home base in the U.S.
That's a long flight. If they I was going to say Colorado, but it could be Colorado or Vegas right now. We don't want to jump ship on teams we're talking about here, but this is getting fucking crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, Canada's playing for what? To play 4 or 5 games against the winner of Colorado Vegas?
Don't do this. Oh, man, you're going to have Canadians fans attacking you.
I'm not saying, I hope that happens. I want good hockey. You were the one who said to me already the North Division's been absolute trash games.
This segment's brought to you by Bam Bams.
It's brought to you by all our Canadian sponsors. We're just going at the North.
Take a deep breath in.
I'm not really that rattled by the fact that they've been boring games. I'm just mentioning that Vegas or Colorado is going to work Montreal. Am I crazy in saying that?
I think we need to pump the Montreal Canadiens tires first because I think they deserve credit right now because they are turning every skill team into absolute mush, controlling the play, capitalizing. I think they have they won 1-0 in the game where Toffoli scored. That was a shorthanded goal, correct?
Yeah, game 2, Toffoli shorthanded.
And then he pointed a Burger Van in the corner of the rink, who's just flexing his muscles on the league right now after bullying them into a 4-game sussy for Scheifele, which is something that we should probably get to. Want to get to that now?
I was just gonna say, like, how much are they missing Scheifele?
Oh,
I mean,
goodness.
they get worked so bad. I mean, they were putrid tonight, Winnipeg. They did nothing, and it's like even if Scheifele was there, is he gonna make that much of a difference?
Well, I'll tell you what we do know is Dubois hasn't made the impact that I thought he was going to bring, especially in this round against the Canadians. Like, I thought, okay.
And when Scheifele went out, it was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, now it's your time to rise to the occasion, and like it's hard, man. Like, Scheifele controls the middle of the ice, and he makes a lot of plays, and he makes that top line work. Like, he's an elite player in the NHL. And given the length of the suspension, it just completely has crippled this team. And they look nothing like the team in the first round. Like, zero. Backs against the wall in Game 3. They played like the Leafs did in Game 7. No offense, Dubes.
They're playing against the opposite team. They're playing against run and gun Edmonton, and they were the ones that were able to lock it down and shut down 2 guys as best as they could, and it was it. Now they're playing against a team who, yeah, you're right. We got to give the Habs credit. Price is ridiculous. Price is exactly what everyone knows he is, and there was questions the past couple years, and
and if we say boring, Whit, I would blame him. And this is obviously
people get so mad at boring. If you win, what do you care if other people think it's boring?
And this isn't a criticism. He is. Anytime there's a shot on net, it's into a vacuum. There's a whistle. The play's dead. You're like, oh my goodness, another face-off, another broken play that resulted in nothing. That's going to get me excited.
That's boring.
Boring.
Because it looks so easy. And here's the other thing. If I watch Montreal right now, they're in the crease like Gallagher. All these guys are whacking away. They're outnumbering them in like the scoring area. Go to the front of the net. Winnipeg, every shot's from the outside. They have like no pressure in front of the net. And I would say that I never would have bet this. I bet them to win the series. So to be down 3-0 to Montreal, I was like, there's just no chance. But Scheifele killed them, and Stastny just came back. He was injured. It's just it was crazy when I saw the 4 games. I said like fine with 1, probably 2, 4. That's what, like 8 to 10 regular season games or whatever. They consider it double. I don't know. That was a lot, and you could tell he was upset. And he wasn't just upset about that. You mentioned it already. He's his family. People are attacking his family online. What the fuck is that about? Who's attacking people's family online over a hockey game?
Getting too silly.
I think it was even more than online. I mean, you'll kind of expect it online because it's filled with fucking morons nowadays. But like he mentioned, like phone calls, and you got to think it's can't. People probably said something to his fucking family in person because he was pretty upset. I mean, it seemed like more than just internet comments.
Yeah.
I mean, he was pretty emotional.
I'll tell you what,
people are fucking assholes, man. They really are.
That's ridiculous. I think 4 games, like for the people who really want to see a change and not see this type of collision. Who knows? Maybe you see punishments like this result in moving forward where a guy might not do that. But, guys, I just think that the game's so fast, and when things have to be decided in split seconds and not when they're freeze-framed and not when you're slowing everything down, I think these are going to continue to happen until the end of time, quite frankly.
Yeah, as long as it's a physical sport. I mean, and even when it isn't, when people move around this fast, we've said this a million times. And if you don't play with your head up, you're going to get injured. It sucks to say, but you can't be skating around with your head down in this league. Guys are too fast. And so, more than anything, though, it was like 2 games I would have understood, but 4, it's like just cripples the team for the entire series and just sucks for that guy because I know Evans is out. It sucks for both of them. But the fact that he's pretty much probably done now, I don't think he'll play a game.
The other tough loss in this one, Petry. He got looked like his pinky finger got caught in the camera hole.
I've never seen that.
I've never seen. Listen, let's not blame anyone on who cut the hole, but I've never seen
cut the hole. He's blaming the plexiglass. There's a plexiglass company in Ohio that Biz is just irate at right now.
Well, you blame fucking Leafs guy for putting fucking Tavares in a leg lock. Right?
No, I questioned the pickup of the athlete as he was injured, which I believe you did as well.
Yeah, I actually got the ball rolling on that one. But I've never seen one cut right there and that low. So unfortunate for the Habs. Now, could this be an injury where they're like, hey, we got the game in control. Let's just get you the rest. Let's get this thing taken care of. If it's like a sprain or something. But
I'll say this: right after it happened, he put his hand back on the stick. So, like, I don't think it's something where it's like ripped off or anything like that. Or there's you've seen guys miss like the top of their finger, right?
Yeah,
I think
like
there's
in the
something.
PLL.
What?
Like in the PLL.
Yeah.
The lacrosse league. Guys, I know we're jumping ship on conversation.
When we're together, we're a little all over the map. We apologize. It's probably pretty good on YouTube, but I can't believe that just was brought up. I brought it up, and then we have a legit finger-biting scandal on the PLL.
Let's talk about it at the back end of the episode.
Okay, fair enough.
Stick along. I think it was like the playoffs, and they're in like a bubble or something.
No, the season just got kicked off, so they travel along.
So the opposite end?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We'll get to it later.
Yeah, man, it's Game 7 tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Exhibition season.
Yeah.
On the Scheifele thing, like, when I see that hit, that's not when I think of, like, hits we can't have in the game anymore. That's not what I think of when that hit, because he didn't, like, it wasn't a head-first type of thing. And, I already said my piece on it. I don't think he deserved more than a game or two. And I don't know, it sucks. Like you said, a handicap. 4 games, excessive, way too much.
Winnipeg has
nothing. No, but yeah, at the same time, Winnipeg was absolute dog shit tonight. By the way, while we're talking about internet, I don't say this word a lot on the show, internet cunts, people who chirp your bets.
See you next Tuesday.
People who chirp your bets in post game, like the fucking crabs of fucking Twitter, dude.
So after the right away, they're just waiting for the final. They're waiting for the final buzzer, and they're going right over there.
They probably don't even bet themselves, which is fucking even worse. But cowardly fucking internet shit.
Hey, if we're talking about gambling right now, we got to pump Merle's tires. There was a guy.
Oh my God.
There was a guy on Twitter who reached out. I think he started his account with $50.
$200 he deposited.
200. Sorry, I was trying to make the fish a little bit bigger.
Little salt and pepper on that shit. I love it. Little A1 sauce. $200 April 18th, and right now he's at 10,200 riding the European Everybody Rides.
Somehow Merle's is down 10 grand.
And Merle's is legit getting. Ain't that the truth?
His wife kicked him out of the house, and he's actually on his way back from Sweden right now. And
he's heading right to Vegas or Colorado for our next stream.
You and Dupree. Be living on my couch.
Sorry to
EBR.
Sorry to any of my female relatives who might listen to the show. Little Brian says
he's
that.
Killing it.
So are we done with the Montreal talk?
Yeah. Unless you had anything else. Shout out to the Warren. Corey Perry with another goal.
And he's using Josh Anderson's twig. He's using Josh Anderson's stick, and he's just so clutch. We've said it the past few episodes and last year in the finals with Dallas. So he's finding his groove. He loves this style hockey with Montreal. They're not playing that fast. He's like, let me just be a rat and the worm in the corner, and then all of a sudden in front, I'll tuck a nice one.
I wonder if he's superstitious enough to, because he's a very superstitious guy.
So superstitious.
I don't know if his twigs weren't in at the time, or he was just having a hard time scoring, so he used Josh Anderson's one night.
And he got one.
And then he got one, and it's evident that he's been on fire ever since. But what if he fucking used Carey Price's stick for a practice? And
Come on, let's hey.
Give him the pink.
He just went too crazy.
Too crazy?
Give him the pink Whitney.
I'm going to hand it back over to
all the shots in it, all the nips in it. All right, Vegas, Colorado was another fucking smoke tonight. What was it, 5-1 final? The TV's at my back, I believe. Colorado got called out by their coach after Game 3. Jared Bednar. I put a max bet on them thinking they were going to come out flying, and Vegas punched in the mouth, took it to them, smoked them 5-1. It was similar to the previous game, Winnipeg-Montreal game. I mean, they had nothing. I couldn't see the shots. They outshot them almost 2-1. Marchessault with a hat trick, and they call it the misfit line. Marchessault, Smith, and Carlson, they're absolutely feasting on the fact that Nazem Kadri's not in the lineup right now, and they're fucking eating them alive. And everybody was, and us included, was probably sucking Colorado's dick after they had an easy time with a St. Louis team. Didn't look like they want to be there. Now everybody's like, maybe we shouldn't have kept
I was giving a tug. I wasn't sucking nothing. I was tugging. I wasn't sucking.
This is like, I'm protecting that one.
I touched it, but I didn't kiss it.
What does Kadri have one more game? Was it game 1 against St. Louis? Then he got 8, and then they played 3 more.
He's
and they played 4
with Bettman right now. They've appealed it 16 times.
I think he got 8. Whatever game it was, I thought it was game 1. I'm definitely wrong, actually. I was shocked to see Bednar. Actually, what Bednar said, I think, seemed a little ridiculous for their start, but it made sense in the fact that they blew him out in game 1. It actually, there was an article in The Athletic talking about he was screaming at them in practice before game 1 against the Blues because their practice was sloppy. He's like, it's not going to be easy. It's the playoffs, like yelling it throughout the ice. Then they go out and they roll them. And then they roll Vegas in game 1, but we talked about they had game 7 2 nights or a night prior against Minnesota. And after that, it's been all Vegas. That game, too, I mean, They were very lucky to win that game, Colorado. So then to go and lose and be that bad in Game 3, Bednar's like, it's not this fucking easy. And he's looking at them like they have every reason to be confident, but you could be down 2-1, no doubt, in this series. And then tonight they come back, and Vegas just took it to them right from the start. And who sent out the tweet that the crowd probably had something to do with the first goal tonight?
Well, yeah, so Marchessault thought he scored originally. Maybe it was his reaction. It was Martin Biron.
Yes.
And he's a goalie. And he said it looked as if though Grubauer stopped playing because he thought the initial shot went in, maybe based on Marchessault's reaction, but they kept the play alive, and what a play by Carlson.
Yeah,
out of the corner.
Well, he stripped the guy with a one-timer pass.
And he, reached, stretched one-timer, passed it back to the net, and thankfully for Marchessault, he ended up getting a stick on it, and he got his first of the game, goes on to have a hat trick. Now, going back to Game 2, I want to talk. This is probably why Bednar was fired up, because he probably thought they deserved to lose Game 2 because Vegas outplayed him, and they get that call in overtime, which, R.A., I agree with you. You sent it to the group right away. You said, this is chintzy. And I agree. It was. It was off a face-off. Mark Stone was quoted saying, this happens 30 times a game off the draw. Do you want to? I don't know if you have it.
I don't have the audio. Mark Stone said the play where Riley Smith was called for slash and Mika ran and happens to him 30 times a game, but he doesn't drop his stick. He still said the Knights have to kill that penalty. Knights have to kill that penalty. But yeah, it's something that a guy doesn't control his stick. It's an awful fucking call to make at that stage at that game. Brutal.
To be fair, Stoner has a knob that's the size of my mom's top drawer, as Jans would say.
It's the giant body armor bottle. That's his knob.
Yeah.
He ain't dropping that stick.
No,
he's got like grip tape on it. It looks like.
Yeah, he's got the sticky that all the baseball players are using now on the ball to get that extra spin. I guess there's an issue in the MLB
I guess
right
it's
now.
a big issue in baseball.
Baseball's the worst, dude. It's like everything's either a fucking home run or a strikeout now. It's awful.
Yeah, I don't know what pitchers are too good now. There was an article about the stuff that's on the ball.
The league average is like 228 or something garbage like that.
This happened in like the 60s, and they raised the mound. Or did they lower it?
No,
they lowered the mound?
No, they raised. No, they were getting too many home runs, so they raised the mound 6 inches.
No, but back when like Bob Gibson for the St. Louis Cardinals,
68,
I think they lowered the mound because
they raised it.
I'm going to conduct.
They never lowered the mound.
I don't know if they've lowered it since they raised it in '68. I don't think they have.
They fucking lowered the mound, dude. They lowered the mound.
Can I drive this back on the tracks?
No, I got in the rivalry.
This is passion baseball.
Going back to
Kadri has 2 more games.
Kadri has 2 more games. Mikey just popped in.
Oh, great.
So you were right.
Oh, great.
Don't
panic, Colorado.
I hope the mound got lowered so much right now. It'll make my week.
It definitely got raised in '68. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Shit.
Going back to fucking actual hockey for a second. The penalty. I thought it was chintzy. The reason I thought it was chintzy is because Rantanen had one hand on a stick. The stick didn't come up from high. It was off the face-off, initial contact. And guys, that's chintzy for overtime. Smith was red hot, but I tell you what, this guy he's the honey badger of the group. He's the Chris Kunitz of the Vegas Golden Knights. No offense, Whit. He has been tremendous. He got a nice tire pump from Peter DeBoer, who has inserted Ryan Reeves back into the fucking playoffs.
Yep,
seamlessly.
No doubt. They did lower the mound.
Suck on that, Whit.
I said they lowered the mound.
I said they raised it in '68. They raised the mound in '68. What did he just show you?
He said they lowered the mound. I just said at one point in baseball they lowered the mound.
And all I said was they raised it in '68.
All right, so maybe we're both right. Okay, Biz, you were right. Great recap right there. I'm sorry, I was focused on baseball.
I tried to the end, and then I tried to say something about DeBoer, and then
no, you know what? I didn't.
Go ahead.
I didn't read the Bednar quotes, which I should have, because they're pretty fucking scathing for a coach. He said, for 5 periods straight, they've been the more competitive team that we've been. To dissect it further than that, it's a waste of time. We're kidding ourselves if we think that's the competitiveness we need to beat the team that tied us for first in the league. Go ahead and check the numbers on our top guys tonight. See what they did compared to their top guys. It's not close. The hardest working player we have right now is Philip Grubauer. And Landeskog agreed with him. And that's why the fact they laid this egg tonight was even baffling. It's stunning. It's actually stunning considering.
You can't blame Grubauer, although I'd love to, because it would make my opinion early on about him in playoffs right. But he has not been the difference. I will say the Marchessault bank goal. probably wasn't great.
I didn't think the Petry goal tonight probably shouldn't have gone in necessarily.
I can't fault them for tonight's loss or not winning that game, although that was a pivotal goal. But I'm still going to eat the L on the Grubauer. It's just nothing to do with Grubauer. This has been all Golden Knights, and I wanted to pump Revo's tires because this is how much confidence that this team has in him. He got suspended 2 games. Who came in? He was solid. I think
Dylan Sakura, I believe.
Sakura. He was effective. He played his 10 minutes a night like Revo would. I think he had 1 shot in the first game, 3 shots in the next. But hey, they don't bat an eye. Revo's out there for warm up. I'm interested to see if they're going to throw him in, given the success they've had in game 2 and 3.
Yep.
And they do it. And I think he ended up picking up an apple on one of the last goals.
He did on the 5th goal. He got his primary assist.
Holy shit, dude, man! If I'm Colorado, my fucking arsehole is puckered up about this goddamn tight right now.
Yep, and DeBoer has like the team to be able to lock down Colorado as best you could do. Best as you could do, Biz.
I was throwing a tongue dart there.
I know,
Sorry.
I respected it. I think that DeBoer's like such a good coach, and Vegas, once they got home and got the last change, I mean, game 2 they were really good, but once they get home, they get the last change, and you can see the matchups, and you can tell DeBoer knows how to all right, we got to get in McKinnon's face. We just can't give him any space in the neutral zone. I don't know exactly how you go about doing it, and there'll be a way McKinnon can fight through it and get more chances, but they've done a great job of keeping these guys quiet because all those lines on Vegas, they skate and they all play good D, and they're just a difficult team to play in their own building.
Peter DeBoer is top-notch coaching.
Yep.
We kind of are seeing to McKinnon what happened to McDavid against the Jets. All of a sudden, you would see 4 or 5 times a game he would just break through the neutral zone. All of a sudden, they're buzzing around the fucking offensive zone for a straight minute. They got home ice advantage now. Their response in Game 5 is going to be all I need to know about what this team is. And holy shit, tip your cap to Vegas, man, and that home crowd because they just swung the series. Because I would, if I could change my pick right now, I would say Vegas in 7.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like Colorado ain't even close. The biggest concern I would have as a Colorado Avalanche fan.
They're going home, dude.
Hey, listen, Cale Makar, the video game player on the back end. He's getting jammed up in the neutral zone.
It's just
he ain't doing what the fuck he's been doing all season long either.
Everything's quicker, and then the more rounds you go, it gets even more intense. And Vegas is on him. I mean, he still had some great plays in this series, but you're right. All these guys after game 1 you haven't seen the Harlem Globetrotters just play that they'll throw into some games, and so Vegas has figured out a way. But like I said, last change really does matter. Colorado's going home.
Altitude.
They just got ripped. They got ripped and put up an absolute dud. So he's not going to rip him again publicly. That didn't work.
Yeah,
so let's see what goes into Game 5. That'll be a great.
Yeah, you can only play that card so many times.
Yeah, you're like, shit, that didn't work. Now I got to be I love these guys. I love these guys.
Like we did
guys, I didn't mean it the other night.
You come in with a sword.
Send them flowers. Mikko Rantanen's 17-game playoff streak, point streak ended tonight. It was going back to 2020, the 8th longest in playoff history.
Who's?
Mikko Rantanen. He had a 17-game point streak.
That's
and Marc-Andre Fleury, who's been absolutely fucking stellar. It was the 18th team he's beaten in this playoffs career, second after only Patrick Roy. So pretty good stuff. Also, boys, I think we can declare the Fortress in Vegas the loudest building in the league at this stage. I know Carolina got
other than the jobbing.com in Glendale.
Yeah.
I would say
for WWE.
Yeah. Echo.
For sure.
No, you just hear you just hear Biz.
Not echoes.
That's what he's doing.
Not echoes.
He's doing a swipe up. That's just what you hear throughout the arena.
Stop.
Oh, fuck. All right, boys. Any other stuff on this series you want to share before we chug along?
Nothing.
We're a little
Nothing
goofy
pops
tonight.
in
We're a little
mind.
giddy. Don't mind us. It's been
What time is it right now?
a while. 4:30 in the morning.
Basically, it's midnight.
It just feels like it.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
We haven't even announced that guest yet. We're not bringing him right now. Hall of Fame goaltender Billy Smith. Probably should have said it when we were talking about the Islanders 10 minutes ago, but either way, awesome interview we got coming. And what's crazy, too, is we interviewed Grant Fuhr and Billy Smith on back-to-back days, and they were 1 and 2. Well, Billy Smith won it for the Vezina Trophy back in, I think, 82 it was.
Yep.
And we didn't plan it that way. It was pretty crazy when we found out after the fact.
This guy, he was probably Ron Hextall before Ron Hextall.
Yeah. How about the one? Well, I won't ruin it, but when I ask him about like fighting other goalies, he gives a great answer.
Yeah. Well, again, get into that a little bit later. We still got some more series to cover. But first, everybody knows that looking for a job can be stressful and frustrating. You get ghosted, told you overqualified, underqualified. It's no fun, which is why you need to try ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter knows that the general experience of looking for a job is pretty sucky. Zip wants to help make things easier for all the job seekers out there, which is why they're teaming up with Barstool to help us find the newest upcoming interns to join the pirate ship this summer. By going to ZipRecruiter.com, you can see all the upcoming opportunities open for this summer. ZipRecruiter attracts the best candidates for us as employers, and as a job seeker, it's so easy to use. When you sign up for ZipRecruiter.com, you can create a free profile, then you get matched to great jobs plus a lot more. ZipRecruiter will proactively pitch your profile to employers whose jobs match your experience. Unlike with other job sites, if an actual person from the company really likes what they see, they can personally invite you to apply for their job. Plus, if you like the job, you can apply to it and many others with just one click. It's that easy. No wonder ZipRecruiter is the #1 rated job site in the U.S. So go to ZipRecruiter.com, sign up for free, and put ZipRecruiter to work for you. And don't forget, you can even search Barstool and apply now for our upcoming internship opportunities. Great way to get your foot in the door at Barstool. No matter what type of job you're interested in, experience the better way to find it at ZipRecruiter.com.
Oh, my goodness. Was that flawless? How do you do that?
Was a tough
I don't know
one.
how you do that.
That wasn't flawless, but
in second grade, they started reading, and then you learn how to pronounce the words, and then you learn how to read the words. It's crazy.
I used to read.
It can't go from the page to my brain all together.
Second language.
I used to read to other class when I was in first grade. Biz. They used to.
I thought you deserved stick taps.
I was
for
a
that.
very advanced reader at a young age.
You're the kid dying to get to read the paragraph
Get the nod.
in the room.
Yeah.
Hey, were you Crosby of the classroom?
I was in the
always
first,
leading the drills.
Already asked for more homework.
No.
As long as it was Playboy article, right?
I was not that. I was not that motherfucker at all. But no, they would have me read to even grades a couple.
He'd give the teacher an apple, but it'd already be one of those ones you poked holes in to smoke.
You read to other classes?
Yeah, they would have me read.
Tough crowd.
Read if
I was just so what he just said.
Imagine giving an apple to the teacher you'd smoke through. I thought it was fucking funny. Give me a
I didn't even hear you.
Give me a nod.
I wasn't even listening.
Jesus,
I was more thinking if he just told me that he used to read to classes. Is this not another shocking thing about him?
He used to go to the other classes.
They would send him as the reader.
No, when I was in first and second grade, I was definitely advanced more than most of the kids. They would have me read to either second or third grade class, whether it was a story, whatever. They would have me going and read them. No bullshit. My mother
read the articles.
Me, yeah.
We got to have Arbour doing this around Boston.
Dear Playboy, my wife doesn't want to.
You need to go do public readings.
It's a classroom.
That'll be your college visit.
Just like President Bush. Wasn't he doing them?
I never got that Playboy photographer job, so remember that.
Yeah. It was that in Jeopardy.
It is.
But then you finally got your name chanted at Hurricane O'Reilly's by 400 people.
It is what it is.
I feel like it was like a thing for clout in middle school where the teachers would be like, yeah, I'm going to fucking send over my best reader to your class, play on your turf, and he ain't going to skip a goddamn beat.
And then the teacher's like, you sent this guy? He thinks you're fucking with him.
And he just kills it. And he just like, oh, la, 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 la. Like comes in with an absolute performance.
Just change it to a sing.
Well, I'm saying that's how good it sounded.
Yeah,
I was picturing an opera. Oh, you're RA's up there with the crown, the Caesar crown, and the what's the thing? The toga?
Like my George Clooney cut.
I don't know. Okay, we got to get back. We got to talk some hockey.
Oh, fuck, yeah. Let's take it. This
isn't for you guys.
Let's take it to the actual stuff.
RA reading. It's like in living color skit.
Nowadays it is. Tampa Bay, Carolina. Remember when Kucherov was hurt and that gif of Sting coming out of the ceiling and wrestling? That was the most appropriate gift ever. Because, the stat, most points through the first 100 career playoff games among active skaters. Sidney Crosby, 118. Nikita Kucherov, 112. Gino, 111. Tampa Bay... That game, what was it, Saturday? 8 goals in the second period. Tampa ends up winning 6-4. Takes a commanding 3-1 series lead. Carolina's goaltender, man. He started Ned the first 2 games, didn't pan out. Mrazek was good in the third game. He was a disaster the other day,
He was good in the first in game 4. He stopped Maroon on that breakaway, and everyone's like, oh, fuck yeah, he's back in rhythm here. And then all of a sudden, Carolina came out firing. What were they up, 4-2?
They were up 4-2, and then Tampa scored 4 straight.
Oh, we said it last podcast. If you want to play any type of game, okay, Let's go.
They'll do anything.
Hey, you want to open things up?
They've done that this series. They've done it both ways.
But at this
want
point,
to open it up? You want to try this?
Okay.
All right. It's like Fast and Furious when who was the fastest? Paul Walker, R.I.P.
No, the original guy, the bald guy, Vin Diesel.
He's like, you really want to do this? That's all right. We'll go run and gun. Cooch is like, yes.
I live my life a quarter of a point at a time.
You know that? Oh, yeah.
He says a quarter of a mile. I say I live my life a quarter of a point.
That was quick.
I've never seen a Fast or a Furious.
Well, I think I went to the first one, my cousin and I, we were laughing. This is so dumb. And there's been, 12 of them? Shows what I know. But I just think Tampa Bay, when they're all going, I don't know if anyone's beating them. I picked them to repeat because I said I'm not picking this team to not win after what they did in last year's bubble and basically the entire team coming back. So they can do it any which way. Kucherov, the goal he scored, the one-timer, the last goal that made it 6-4, it's or maybe that made it 5-4. He's so quick and able to just get the puck off his stick without anyone even realizing it's happening.
Mrazek was already drinking his water bottle.
Yeah, Mrazek's like, oh, what's going on here? I'm surprised they left him in.
He was on one knee. He's like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, why did
we open it up, boys?
He's like, I didn't like this style.
Pandora's box. What the fuck are we doing here?
You guys want points? I'm getting embarrassed.
Take another fucking penalty. I'll fucking take my pads off, you assholes.
And it was 4-2, what? Just a little bit into the second?
Yeah, they scored. There were 8 total goals in the second.
I think they said twice there's been 9 goals scored in a
Brady
period.
Shea tried to give himself a penalty, and they sent him back.
That was crazy.
That was the craziest play.
He went to the box on his own volition, and they're like, no, you didn't get one.
And then
He legit high-sticked him in the nose.
And then Coop was losing it.
I understood why he was losing it. All 4 guys, and the puck was right there. It wasn't away from the puck. Yeah. So the guy buries him in the face. You miss that. Then the guy then goes to the box. He's like, yeah, they got me. And all 4 of them still are like, no. How at that point do you not say, hey, one of you guys saw it, and then he went to the box. We got him.
Well, and then the picture comes out of the officials.
He pled guilty.
Then the picture comes out the night before the officials were doing fucking Pink Whitney shots of each other's belly button at the bar. So then they're playing guilty.
There you go.
Now we got a whole online fuss.
There you go. Pink Whitney gets
that was
you every
a lie,
time.
guys. That was bad.
Tampa Bay 9 straight wins after a playoff loss. 6 straight Game 4s they've won. I mean, and Avassi, he didn't have his best game. He gave up 1 bad goal, but when the push came to shove, didn't give up any goals in the late period.
On a serious note, going back to Game 3, that Slavin to Teravainen and touch pass to Aho was
one of the best I've ever seen.
The most gorgeous plays I've ever seen. I don't think it got enough credit. If you haven't seen it, go look at it. And I'll tell you what, man, Aho, who I thought had the winner in overtime in Game 3, it was actually Stahl.
Yeah, went in off Stahl.
That guy has been an absolute beast. He's like a fine wine, getting better with age. But, God, Carolina, man, They got to be kicking themselves in the ass after going up 4-2 in that game, and then you're going back home down 3-1 to Tampa. Yeah, and I'm assuming they're talking about not opening things up for Game 5.
No, we're going to try to shut them down, guys.
We're going to shut her down.
That was Stahl's second OT winner. Second OT winner of the playoffs as well. And Carolina gets over the penalties in that game. I know people thought it was a ref show a little bit. They just kept taking stupid penalties. I mean, Svechnikov, he's too good of a guy to take 3 penalties, especially 2 of them were really bad. And, Brind'Amour called them out in the press afterwards as well for the shitty penalties.
You have to. I mean, you can't. You're playing against that team. Yeah. It's like the whole goal is, but guys, let's just try to literally not get 1 penalty. We're going to get 1 or 2. Let's not get 5. And then one of your best players, gets 3. There's no recipe to really beat Tampa when everything's going well, let alone if you're going to be in the box. Tampa's a wagon.
Yeah, 3 for 6 in the power play. Stamkos got 2 of them. Braden Point. This kid is a fucking
He's a joke.
He's unreal out there.
He changes speeds, in the neutral zone. He'll, slow it down, and then all of a sudden he sees a whole burst. He's so quick. He goes to the net. He really does it all. Tyler Johnson, he's playing, lower down in the
waiver wire, Johnson?
Was he on the waiver?
I think they put him on waivers at one point.
The beginning of the year?
Yes,
they did.
They did.
I feel like every guy who's been on waivers this year has went on to Adam Henrique, who just won a gold medal as a captain with Team Canada that went overseas.
Congratulations.
But back to Point. He is. I feel like this year's Palat is Killorn.
Killorn's been one of their best players.
Just a beast. 6 goals now. What's he got? 6 and 6 for 12 points. I mean, come on, man. That's top tier. I mean, it's not Kucherov's sting out of the top ropes, but it's a good little run so far.
No doubt.
Yeah, he's having a hell of a playoff so far.
He kills penalties so well too that like he's not just scoring. He's like so hard to play against defensively. He finishes every single check.
His shoulder pads to shin pad ratio is maybe a little too big.
The big dog's up top. He's got to protect his shoulders for golf.
6'5" and 11 in 10 games so far, Biz. So yeah, you were close.
Oh, I was close.
You were very close. Yeah. I'm going to sing.
Hey, can we talk about his shoulders and how big they are? I don't know if they're as big as that snuff you just put in your top lip.
They're the old Douglas shoulder pads. Like, he brought me back for this. Like, I don't know. They're enormous. They're what a middle linebacker wore in high school.
NFL Blitz.
But he gets it done. And now you don't want to run into him because NFL Blitz great video game.
He looks like the NFL Fox guys, those little robots that pop up.
Earl Campbell, I said. Yeah, those are big shoulder pads.
Braden Point only makes 6.75 too.
Fire the agent. Tell him to get Wits guy.
All right, now for the shoulder pad talk, Biz. We're going to move on. But first, I had to move my chair over here because I have to apologize to Ryan Whitney. I was wrong, Ryan. I was wrong. They lowered the mount in 68. I've been making a bad analogy for about 25 years now. I just learned, so.
The room doesn't seem that happy that I'm happy, but I'm so happy.
Yeah, this is probably a reason.
I'm sure there was a few of you screaming at your cell phones
They
or
lowered the mount.
your what's the thing in the car? The thing that
That's a steering wheel. That's a radio.
windshield
wipers.
wipers.
Windshield. Roof.
All right,
Tires.
boys. It's time to bring on Hall of Famer Billy Smith. This is a great interview of a legendary goalie. I know you guys really weren't around for him. Well, no, really.
This guy's
weren't at
tapped.
all. Yeah, he was the maybe the original psycho goalie. Gentleman off the ice, but a fucking maniac on it. But first, this interview is brought to you by our friends at Body Armor. Body Armor, it's what you should be drinking to stay hydrated this summer, especially in this stifling heat. It's been hot as an oven up here in Boston all week. We've been down on this stuff to keep us hydrated. Today's athletes deserve more than your grandfather's tired old salty sports drink, which is full of artificial dyes. Enter Body Armor, made with potassium-packed electrolytes, antioxidants, and B vitamins, plus no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. Body Armor sports drink provides hard work and hydration and more, plus it tastes great. I've been slugging the fruit punch all day because I'm a wee bit dehydrated. You can also enjoy the watermelon strawberry, berry lemonade, and the orange mango. Body Armor helps today's athletes stay on top of their game. Body Armor, available for purchase in-store and on Amazon now. Learn more at drinkbodyarmor.com. And now, Hockey Hall of Famer Billy Smith. Well, we're very happy to bring you our next guest, another member of the New York Islanders dynasty of the 1980s. And this guy was a key part of them winning 4 straight Stanley Cups and 19 straight playoff series, a record that probably won't get broken. He also won the Vezina Trophy in 1982 and the Conn Smythe Trophy for playoff MVP in 1983. Not to mention, he was the first goalie credited with a goal in NHL history. And to cap it off, he was elected to the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1993. It's a pleasure to welcome to the Spittin' Chiclets podcast, Billy Smith. How are you doing, Billy?
Good. Great to be here with you guys.
Great to have you. So you getting ready to root on the Isles in the playoffs or what?
Well, hey, they're doing well this year. Let's hope they can keep going. But playoffs is a whole different story.
Absolutely, become a different animal, and that's what we're going to get to shortly. Incredible playoff career. We just said it: 4 Stanley Cups in a row, 19 straight series. Do you honestly think a team will break that someday, even given some of the stars we have today?
It's very tough, especially today, to keep. Once you win a Stanley Cup, usually it's your third and fourth lines that help you more than anybody can ever understand. And when you lose maybe somebody really good on the third line, that could also just about ruin you.
That's how deep the league is, you're thinking now, eh? It's just like it's so competitive the way the game's gotten.
It's competitive, and if somebody gets hurt in the first 2 lines and your really strong third line guy steps in, you really don't miss it. It's like us. I'm a firm believer we would have never won a Stanley Cup without Butchie going.
There you go.
And he came over from L.A., right?
Yeah, we got him from L.A. And in fact, I was the one that told Torrey that if we're going to get somebody, Butchie going would be a great asset to get.
Come on.
Yeah, and it was funny because when he came in, he gave us 2 first lines. Our team was good as it was, but with Butchie there, we could put, for power play, you could put either one of those lines on. And then what happened is our third line, what we called our third line, was better than most second lines. and our fourth line was better than any third line. So it was just like Al, all he had to do was roll the lines.
Was it because you'd been there so long and they'd earned you'd earned their trust that they were willing to take your word on a player like that? You know, obviously that takes a lot of jam to step in there and vouch for a guy to bring him over.
Well, I played with Butchie in Springfield when we won the Calder Trophy, so I knew Butchie. Butchie was a real good friend the 2 years I was in Springfield and going to training camp in L.A., you know, in Victoria with L.A. So I knew him, and they knew how good he was too. They just never thought he'd be available.
Interesting.
And then, you know, you were a guy who I saw a video you mentioned you were just happy to get drafted, happy to have a chance to get a team to give you a real look. And when you ended up being selected where you were, you didn't at all have expectations. You were just kind of happy with how it went down.
You're right. I never expected anything. And the funny thing is we never knew about the draft in our day. You know, I think I got called a week or 10 days later after I'd been drafted. I had no idea. I get a phone call and LA's called somebody from LA. And I go, yeah, well, LA, what do they want? And that's how I found out. And believe me,
a week later?
At least a week.
Wow.
Oh my God. Courier pigeon shows up, eh, Billy?
Yeah.
You're like, what's
pretty much. It was pretty weird. But, you know, like, I thought, okay, here I go, you know. I went to training camp and Boo Landon was there, and Boo Landon said to me right away, he says, don't worry, kid, you're going to Springfield with me. I said, wow, how do you know? He says, and Jack Norris was there in training camp in LA. And actually, Boo Landon and Jack Norris were the best goaltenders in the camp in LA. And neither one of them got a shot because their name wasn't big enough.
Really?
Yeah, it was scary. Like just watching those guys, I said, oh, you know, we go for a beer. And I'd say to those guys, you guys are the two best. And neither one of them got
Doesn't matter. Well, when you went to Springfield, that team was loaded. I saw you won the Calder Cup. So just getting that run throughout the playoffs and experiencing pro hockey that way must have actually been great for your development.
Oh, it was. Don't take it wrong, but Boo Landon did the best thing he could possibly do for me. He separated his shoulder the first game and didn't come back.
So it takes sometimes.
And I'm joking. Boo was a great guy. But what ended up happening is he got injured. And for me, it put me right in the opening spot right away. And Johnny Wilson was the coach, and he kept bringing in goalies that were 30 years old because I was only 20 at 19, 20 at the time. So he brought in the older guys trying to take my job. But what ended up happening after 2 or 3 games, they'd throw me back in and look for somebody else. And I just got to play. And when it came to playoffs, Johnny Wilson said, we're going to win or lose with you, kid. Way you go.
Wow. At that point in time, had you developed this seriousness before games? Because one of the things that everybody's heard about you, I'm sure, is that you would refuse to talk to teammates on the day of a game.
Yeah, I was that way even in junior. I always feel you're going into battle, you better be prepared. And that's the way I was. I would, not that I thought of anything, I just wanted to be left alone because I didn't know what I might have to do.
Yeah, you say going into battle, people should have had bulletproof armor on skating through your crease. You were chucking just rocket slashes off guys' ankles and knees. I mean, I'm assuming that started in junior too. Well,
I thought there was a rule you weren't supposed to be there. So
hey, this is my home.
That's my home, buddy. Don't come in. But no, that's the way I played. Like, you guys know what it was in the old days. You run through the crease, you do this or that. And fortunately for me, I have a certain personality that I don't mind mixing it up. So I always said, if you're going to try running me, I'm going to protect myself and then go a little bit above it if I have to.
At what point did you develop the nickname, the Hatchet Man? At what point in your career was that starting to float around?
Grade 6.
I think after about 3rd or 4th year, I think it started.
And that's just the way you did it. Even to the point where after playoff rounds, you refused to shake hands with the other team, correct?
Well, it happened one game that was against the Rangers. Like, we beat the Rangers out. And it was really difficult to win. You know, there was a lot of things said. In New York, everybody thought the Rangers were just going to walk over us. So I just kind of said, the hell with it. I just skated off the ice. So, of course, you know what the reporters are like and everything, what bad attitude, what this and what that, you know. So once I realized how much it affected them, I just said, the hell with it. I'm not going to do it. It wasn't that I didn't like the guys. I mean, when we beat Gretzky out, Gretzky and me ran into each other in the hallway. We shook hands. And when they beat us out, I looked for them and I went and congratulated them. Him and me never said anything about it. But it's just that sometimes you do something, people get so upset over it, you kind of laugh at it and you say, well, hey, if this is going to create something, why not just keep doing it?
Just the ultimate pot stirrer. I love it. And you think, hey, if I'm in their heads, that's a leg up. That's competition.
Billy, you're getting Whit going here. That's his MO right there, that guy.
Hey, we all did crazy things, you know. Like I said, I never talked to reporters for almost 7 years.
But in everything I've heard, it's right when the game ended, you were the most normal guy. It was just when you're out, when those 60 minutes, or I guess the whole day of, so pregame skate, meal, nap. But you know what I'm saying. On the off days, you were normal. You were hanging out with everyone, right?
Oh, yeah. I was the best team guy they had. I'd go to the bar and make sure everybody got home. But it's just when you go there, that's why in our day, we didn't make friends with anybody like the old John Ferguson years. You never talk to the opponents. You don't get to know them because you don't know when you're going to be fighting them. And you can't fight a friend. It's tough. Like Butchie Goring, I always told Butchie, I may not know it's you standing there, so you know what I'm like. Butchie says, yeah, I'll stay out of your way. I said, okay.
So on a pregame, did you guys used to skate the day of the game beforehand? That wasn't a thing back then. So would you even go
It was.
Oh,
the whole team went. If I was playing, I wouldn't go.
Ooh, you'd get so and then that's how you got left alone. Now, if something had to get to you before the game, was there one person that got the green light in order to talk to you?
No, nobody did.
Oh my goodness. So I'm sure at some point did anyone try to antagonize you a little bit by trying to spark things up, or did they just like know that you would have probably got a blocker to the jaw or something? You
got to understand, all the guys knew what I was like, and I felt so sorry for Billy Carroll because he sat beside me, and I never talked to him. And Billy just talked to the other guys and just leave me alone. And of course, you know, I've only got one guy on one side because the door is right beside me. So it was just a standing thing that guys knew. Like they'd come in, they'd say, they'd nod to me, and I'd nod to them. That was it. Are we ready? Let's go.
Hey, Biz, one time, all right, you'll appreciate this. One time in practice, I hit Nikolai Habibulin up high, right? He was furious. And then I just picture you and I multiply it by, I'm guessing, 10. Like if a teammate ever caught you high in practice, it was game on, no?
Well, yeah, I chased Boss down the ice one day, but there was two small guys that grabbed me, Clark Gillies and Bobby Knott. So I didn't get to do anything, but practice. Well, what is it? You skate the length of the ice, put your head down, and fire the puck. And to me, that was just stupidity. So if somebody hit me high, I'd go after them.
That's where the screws were loose. Going back to the early days, so you were drafted by the Kings. After what, 1 or 2 seasons, you end up getting picked up in the expansion draft?
Yeah.
What was that experience like? I mean, you just talk about like, going through the system in LA, winning a Calder Cup, and all of a sudden now you're getting picked up and moving across the country.
Try to make it quick. What ended up happening, we won the Calder Trophy. The next year, back then we had no money. So you get the envelope to go to training camp. I put down pay for everything. So they made a mistake. They never sent me a ticket. So a week late, training camp's going on for a week. I'm sitting at home. So they call me and everything. So you know what it was in the old days? Now I've got a bad attitude because the guy says, buy a ticket and get out here. And I says, buy a ticket with what? I said, send me a ticket. So they sent me a ticket. I got there. So right away, I have a bad attitude. And really that year I was the best goalie LA had. So when I went to Springfield, they sent me to Springfield. I knew right away, they didn't give me an exhibition game. They didn't give me anything. So I went to Springfield, and Gary Dineen was the coach. And after every game in Springfield, he'd walk in, go to the counter, grab a beer, come back, open a beer, hand it to me, and he'd say, I don't know why you're here, but am I ever glad I got it? So it's just, I was having fun. I was having fun in Springfield. And even when LA called me up at the end of the year, when Rogie Vachon got hurt, they said, Gary Dineen shakes his head, oh, we're in trouble now. He says, you're going to LA? I says, no, I'm not. He says, what do you mean? I says, send the other guy. I don't want to go.
Wow.
I says, they treated me like that. I'll just stay here and play out the season here. He says, you have no choice. You got to go.
Was Springfield nice back then? Because it's a dump today. No disrespect, Springfield.
Well, Springfield was great. The people were great. We played in the old building, in the fairgrounds and that. Everybody knew everybody. I mean, you couldn't get in trouble if you tried.
I guess that kind of speaks to your loyalty. Now, at any point in your Islanders career, did you have the opportunity to move on, or are you just kind of, that's who you are, that's your original team and that's the team that believed in you? You're going to stick with them the whole way through?
I would have moved on at the end when it was getting, when Terry Simpson came in as head coach, him and me didn't see eye to eye. We had lots of arguments. So I would have moved on then. I even asked to let me move on, but they didn't do it. And got to a point then at a time in your career where you say, well, is it really worth moving on? And of course, I didn't have the right agent either. I think he kind of snowballed me too. So it is what it is.
Billy, we have another expansion draft coming up very soon for the new team in Seattle. Now, did that first Isles team you were on, first Isles team ever, did they have that kind of I'll show them mentality with a bunch of cast-offs like we kind of saw at Vegas a couple of years ago? I know the success wasn't the same, but...
We did have cast-offs. But
you get 12 wins.
That was when World Hockey came out.
Right. Oh, yeah, right. Yep.
It was even halfway decent went World Hockey, because they weren't getting any money on the island. We were listening to Truck about what he got. My bonus for going to the Islanders was $2,000, and my salary was $18,000. So a little different in money back then.
Now, how rough did that first season get with the losing? Like I said, you guys weren't as good as Vegas, but did guys stick together, or did you realize, it's first year here, we can't really bite each other's heads off, or what?
Yeah, I mean, didn't get that close to a lot of guys. Like I play there the way a lot of guys didn't like playing in front of me, because if guys were running around and doing stuff, I had no problem dropping my gloves. The trouble is we had nobody else there to do anything.
Oh, geez. So
teams just ran over us, and I was probably the toughest guy on the team. And then what ended up happening is at the end of the year, I think New Haven had Gary Howitt and Bobby Nye. And we were so bad that, like I said, everybody was running over us. And all of a sudden they bring up Bobby Nye and Gary Howitt. So what ended up happening is teams came into our building and started getting smart. And then all of a sudden, Gary Howitt drops his gloves. Next shift, Bobby Nye drops his gloves. And then the next shift, I'm going after some. So now all of a sudden teams are saying, okay, let's beat them by 1 or 2 goals and let's keep away from these 3 guys. So we gained a little respect and we gained a little room.
How many times did you meet another goalie at center ice or anywhere on the ice for that matter and go toe-to-toe?
I only fought one goalie my whole career. And he jumped me from behind in Montreal. And he got a little bit of a beat.
Who was it?
Yeah. Don't make us Google it.
I can't remember. It was the year that Montreal had the big brawl against Quebec.
That was 80. Was that 80?
I'm shocked you
All
can't
right,
remember.
You don't know what year that is. Come on.
No, don't. I think it was 80. The big brawl.
In the 80s. I think it was 82.
I think
You think RA can get it, Billy? You think he can pull it out right now?
No, I forget. And I shouldn't name any names anyway. But he was the only guy I ever fought, and it wouldn't be fair for me to fight a goalie.
Yeah, you were fighting other teams like middle heavyweights, kind of like, God bless his soul, Ray Emery. I mean, he used to remember Ray Emery fought Andrew Peters Biz in Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of the modern day Billy Smith.
He used to fight Brian McGrattan in practice all the time. Like he was one of those guys, if you shot high, it was a Donnybrook.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I fought Bob Kelly, not Battleship. I never fought the Battleship. I had a drink with him one night in Pittsburgh, and he was hurt, and a few guys in our team knew him. And he came over. It was at the end of his career, and he says to me, Smitty, no bullshit tomorrow, okay? He says, my hands are really sore, because his hands were just all broken up. And I says, yeah, no problem. Just stared at my neck. He goes, yeah. I walked over to Chico, and Chico says, were you going to fight him? I says, are you crazy? I says, he'd have made mincemeat out of me. But there were a lot of tough guys.
What a nickname, Battleship.
Yeah.
He was too, believe me.
I'd be like a blow-up raft.
A dinghy.
Dinghy.
Now, the next season, things get a little bit better. I mean, you draft Dennis Potvin, number 1 overall. Al Arbour comes in. How much did Al tidy things up?
Al was great. I heard what Trotter said about him. Al made everybody play a system. And he always used to say in the third period, I don't care if the roof falls in. We stick with our system. That was, and also, like, he was very good. He knew his players. Like the best story I have is we get into town a little late. I'm a big movie fan guy. And he says, 11 o'clock curfew. So I'm going off the bus, and I says, Al, is it 11 o'clock sharp? Or if I'm a couple of minutes late, do I get fined? He says, what movie are you going to? And I told him, and I said, well, we're going here. And he says, who's going with you? And I says, about 4 of the guys are going with me. He goes, the curfew's not for you. Al Arbour never called me once my whole career for curfew.
Talk about an early day players coach, in a way.
Yeah, he was good. He knew the guys. He knew what everybody was doing, And like he put up with me. He didn't like the way I played a lot. But when it was a tough game and the fists are starting to fly, he had no problem putting me out.
I got to ask, what was the movie?
Oh, it was back in the 70s. It was just probably a violent movie. That's what I like.
I probably watched it at 3:30 this morning.
RA's a massive cinema buff. I'd be interested. What are some of your favorites? What would you put in your top 5?
Star Wars, Dirty Harry, anything, any war movies.
I was actually thinking The Sting, because it was 1973. I figured the year matched up, and I said, well, maybe they want to see The Sting together, because that's something that I figured a coach would let you go see. It wasn't a shitty movie by any stretch.
Yeah, no, there's so many good.
Yeah, now, another guy I want to talk about, Bill Torrey. I mean, this Islanders team back then, I know a lot of our listeners aren't familiar with it. They were able to go from an expansion team to a cup contender in like 5 or 6 years, and a lot of it was to do with the draft. And Bill Torrey's a guy you had a relationship with, not only your time with the Islanders afterwards. Want to talk about Bill for a little bit, let the folks know about him?
Yeah, well, like I said, Bill started it all, and he was one of the first guys that go with young guys, and that's what our team did. We grew up together. I mean, just like what you guys were saying, the older guys started falling out. When you get a guy like Trotch in, you just get it. We didn't go trading off like L.A. when I was with L.A. You didn't go trading off all your young guys to get an older guy that only had maybe 3-4 years left. Bill Torrey was a firm believer in bringing them up, training them, and sticking with them. And one of the guys that was another big help was Jimmy Devellano. I mean, he was the scout that was going out and doing a lot of the work, and him and Bill got together and they put the team together, and it worked out.
I was going to hop in and ask, at what point in your tenure there did you think, okay, wow, all right, we're starting to add some pieces here. I think this is going to come together nice. Like, did you ever suspect that you guys could win the ultimate prize as you saw these younger guys coming up?
No, I just played the game because I loved it.
So you didn't even focus on that. You were just so concerned about your own job. You didn't pay attention to any of the rest of the noise.
No, I didn't worry about anything. If they make a change, they make a change. There's nothing I could do about it. It's, if they trade me, they trade me. I'm here to play. Let's go play.
I mean, take a look at the picks. I mean, they obviously got you in the expansion draft. Then Potvin, Gilly, Strachey, John Tonelli, not a Hall of Famer, but a Hall of Famer for the Islanders, taken in the second round. It's unreal how he put it together so quick. Now, you mentioned Chico Resch. He was your partner for years. Was it always a healthy competition with you two guys, or did it ever get contentious on occasion? Or
no, it really, my whole career, I never really played more than 40 games. And I think that's one of the reasons Al held me at 40 games or less, was because he liked me when he needed me, but he didn't want to put up with my business all the time. So we had two good goalies. Chico was a good goalie. I still remember when we got down to, when I finally started playing was when we played LA in our building, and I beat them the first game. And they scored on me with minutes to go in the game. So I think we beat them 4-1. The next game, he pulls me, puts Chico in. And we got blown out, and we're on the way to LA. And I'm sitting in the seat, commercial flight, of course, going to LA. And Al Arbour says to me, he says, "You're playing tomorrow night." I says, "I don't care." And he looked at me and he said, "What do you mean by that?" And he got upset. And I says, "You're just going to pull me the next night anyway, so what's the difference?" And he looked at me and he says, "You're playing tomorrow night, and if you keep playing good, you'll play from then on." And I says, "You better make sure that that's what's going to happen." And that's what he did.
So he was basically looking at it like, I'm going to keep him fresh in the regular season. I don't want to deal with this bullshit. And then in the playoffs, I'll let him run. But still, if he gets a couple extra penalty minutes that night, I'm pulling him.
Well, he didn't pull me too often, but he did pull me. If the game got out of hand or that, he would pull me. But it is what it is. You go out there, you play to win, and you hope for the best.
You were talking about the rivalry with the Rangers at one point. What's the story about the cops, the horse cops at MSG? Apparently, you got a great story about that.
Oh, well, you guys know it's on the 5th floor. You come down, and I'm out of the dressing room within 10 minutes after the game. I'm gone. So I walk down, and I got a 12-pack of beer with me, and I put the 12-pack of beer on the thing. And you know how the people, they got a line across where the door is, and a lot of people are yelling at me. So I'm being sarcastic back. And I said something I thought was really fun. And there was three mounted cops there. So one of the guys, I was so upset, he stepped across the line, and the guy just tapped his billy stick against the wall and went. So I look at him and I says, "Guys, you guys would like to have a beer with me? I'd love you to have you drink with me." And one of the guys walked over to me, Sarge, and I snapped one. I handed him a beer, and he looked back at the other two guys and he went, "Come on over." We killed that 12-pack before anybody got down to the bus. So the funny thing is, I come down, the next game in the Garden, I come down and I says, "They're going to be there again." So I grab a 24 from the dresser, and I walk down with a 24, and there's 6 of them there. So every time we came into town, I always had 6 to 10 guys standing there with their horses all tied up to the bumper of a car. And it just came like the guys always said, "We like you. You'll never get in trouble in New York." I said,
"Oh,
he's rolling kegs down in 88 biz."
Yeah, thanks. But, they're just like us. They were loyal and they had fun. They were Ranger fans. I didn't care.
Did they get you the get out of free jail card?
Yeah. Yep.
Cast all those in.
How many times did you have to use it? Were you a bit of a wild man when you would hit the party scene?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't that way. I had a few, like any of the rest of us. We had a few going home. I had a little bit of a heavy foot, and sometimes I got caught for heavy foot, but the guys were good down there.
Like, would you oftentimes be going into the city to party, or were you sticking on the island mostly?
Oh, no, I was married. Me and my wife hardly ever went into the city.
No Studio 54 business?
Oh, no.
Not like Trots wheeling in there, eating dope off the plants?
No, I didn't know that.
No, I think he said he saw someone do it, and then we gave him a hard time saying, yeah, he was probably involved in the tomfoolery. But
he was pretty quiet when he was young, Trotter. You know,
apparently not when he hit the dance floor. He was busting up like John Travolta.
singing.
Billy, besides the cup runs, one of your other most famous highlights is the Lanny McDonald scrap back in March of '79. I mean, it's just so unusual to see a goalie fight a skater. And it looked like you actually waved a defenseman away, like, get the hell out of here. I got this one.
That was crazy.
Take us through that story. I mean, two Hall of Famers going at it.
Well, it was funny because Palmetier was hitting my guys. And it was third period, we were winning. So I just said, I saw Palmetier hit my guys. And I said, well, I'm not going to have him hit my guys. So Lanny came into our zone and it was a turnover. And I skated out and I speared him. So then I threw, as you see in the film, I was the one that started it. I threw my stick down, took my mask off and everything, put my fists up. And I waved Pricey off. I said, no, I started this. I'm going to fight him. So, and Lanny smoked me with one. Came out of nowhere, hit me right on top of the head. Almost broke his hand. So he's down in the dressing room with his hand in a bucket of ice. And I'm in my dressing room having a couple of cold ones. And one reporter guy that I liked came down. He said, boy, did you ever beat Lanny? I said, beat him? Well, where were you? And he goes, well, he's down there with his hand in a bucket of ice. And something I never did, I said to the reporter, I says, I got something I got to tell you, but you can only tell it to Lanny. He says, what's that? So you down there and you tell Lanny, it's a lot easier to get your hand in a bucket of ice as it is your head. I said, so he went down and told Lanny, I'm telling this story outside the dressing room with my wife and friends. And who walks out but Lanny with ice bags all over his head. So he looks at me and I got a shitty grin on my face and I'm laughing, telling the story. He looked at me and he just shook his head. But when he shook his head, he had a little bit of a smile on his face and we became friends after that.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Man, I'm curious to know, since you were not playing as many games as you'd expect as a starter, and with the attitude you brought on the ice, did you ever have some interesting fan interactions in away buildings?
Oh, yeah. It was awful. And Rangers,
anything close to a scrap?
Philly. Well, no, not really. Well, not really. I was in Philadelphia one night and I had two guys there and they're with their parents. And the father at the end of the game stood up and stepped over the chairs just to say something to me. And the security guy can run down. I looked at this. I said, relax. This guy, look at him. He's not. He said to me, he says, that's the most entertainment I've had coming to a hockey game. He says, you sure put those two kids in their place. I can't.
Oh, you were giving it back to him?
I was, they started it. And I just, one had long hair, one had short hair. So you guys know back in those days, I would just, and I said, did mommy and daddy bring you and your sweetheart to the game? And even the mother at the end of the game was smiling from ear to ear. But that in those days, the glass was only up 2 feet.
Oh, yeah.
Not like today. So standing up, your head's over the glass. So it was fun. You know what? It was entertaining for me, too, because I was laughing. I wasn't even watching the hockey game.
In talking to you and Trache and Brent Sutter, it's apparent and pretty obvious you guys had a fun group. Like that first Stanley Cup and then each celebration, like how many nights in a row are you guys going having drinks? When's the first time you probably finally just didn't have a beer after those wins?
What night we might not have had a beer, I have no idea. in our day, the beer was right in the dressing,
So you're saying from the night you won it till training camp the next year, you probably had at least one every night.
Oh yeah. Easy.
I love it.
Well, it started in Springfield. When I was in Springfield, it was funny because I went to a movie and I had to drive home past the local bar right across from the rink. And I'm driving home from the movie and I look and it's like a Tuesday night. Nobody goes out on Tuesday night. I see one car. I know that car. I see another car. So I know that car. Next thing I see about 5, 6 cars that I recognize. I go in. It's 3/4 of the team sitting at the bar drinking.
Thanks for the invite, fellas.
And it was funny because I went in and I think we went there every night until the playoffs were over. It was just, we all got there. Not that we got drunk or silly or anything else. It's just that we all stayed. Even the married guys were there, which I was kind of saying, wow, what are you guys doing here? And he says, no, we'll just come down just to have 1 or 2. And that's the way it started.
Billy, another big highlight, even before we got to the Stanley Cups, also against the Colorado Rockies. Like I said, you got the first goal by a goaltender in NHL history. Did you realize what happened, how it happened? And like I said, take our listeners through that. I don't even know if there's video available of it in this day and age.
Well, I take no credit. The only time I take credit is when people say Hextall was the first one to shoot it. He's the first one to shoot it.
Right.
When they say he was the first one to score, I go, no. What it was we were getting a penalty. And the defenseman had it. Their goalie was going off the ice. The defenseman had it, fired the puck. I made the save and steered it into the corner. He came back into the corner, grabbed the puck, and threw it back to the defense without looking. There was nobody there. So it went all the way down into the net. So I knew it was mine, but at that time they give the goal to Kenny Morrow. And
what was he closest to the puck when it got shot? Is that how?
I think so.
Okay.
They but what ended up happening is why I didn't want it was because then I'd have been higher in the scoring rank than Kenny Morrow.
It'd be like the bottle of booze thing. Grant Fuhr was talking about how he would do it with I don't know if it was Semenko, but they would do a bottle of booze for who would have the most amount of points at the end of the season.
Yeah, well, you know what? You get silly things like that. That's what keeps the team together.
Absolutely. And one other thing we were talking about was the equipment. And what do you think of the new stuff? Because it must just marvel you at how big it's gotten and how light it's gotten. And he made the point back in the day how you guys used to try to shrink it to cut weight because the stuff was so heavy.
Well, I was more into the protection mode than anything else. I mean, but in practice, like I'd have to wear a pair of shin pads underneath my goalie pads because just the constantly getting hit, your legs would be bruised. The equipment back then, it was good for the first maybe 2 months. And then it'd get wet, it'd get heavy, it just silly and small. Like I used to play with the old timers up here and I had my equipment and I played with a kid that was 6'2" and he was maybe 150 pounds. So I stood in front of him and motioned to the guys and say, look, you couldn't see him standing behind me. Okay. So I put my equipment on. He puts his equipment on. I walk behind him and I says, hey guys, can you see me? Couldn't see me. He was like twice the size of me. So, the pads went from 8 inches to what are they now? 11 or 12?
They're massive. I couldn't score any goals. I blame it on the equipment. That's my excuse. What's yours?
Muffin.
I did get a goal.
I'm curious, like your best game. I read from everything, and everyone talks about Game 1 Cup final in 1983 against the Oilers. When I think that was your 4th in a row, 35 shots shutout. In your mind, is that probably the best you ever played as well?
Well, that was a really good game. I had a lot of great games in Boston. I loved to play in Boston. I mean,
Garden got you going.
Oh, the Garden, Buffalo also. I had good, like small rinks. Like I played in Cornwall, real small rink. So I just loved it when I was in a small rink. It's like you didn't have to move a lot. If you had your angles halfway decent, I mean, it was fun to play. And like I said, but in Edmonton, it was great. We had a little bit of everything in that game. That was a game I hit Gretzky, of course. It was like people wanted to hang me.
You got a 5-minute for that, huh?
Yeah, nobody saw it except the linesman.
He called it.
And he snitched to the ref.
Yeah.
Any reason why you punched him?
I didn't.
It was a slash.
Oh, slash.
He was coming around the net biz and he just threw his stick, like almost like he's poke checking him, but the stick happened to be like 3 feet off the ice. Caught him right in the knee.
Just above his shin pad. But it probably hurt, but it didn't hurt that much.
You were also the first NHL goalie to win the Stanley Cup with the helmet and mask style.
Yeah.
How did that go throughout the years? Like switching out of the fiberglass ones, were those things just a annoyance wearing those?
Well, back in those days, I used to have hair, and I thought maybe the mask was what was causing it because it was hot. But it wasn't. But
genetics.
Yeah, that's exactly. I love the mask. I would have kept wearing it, but our masks in those days sat right on your face. There was no space, no nothing. It was like riding up and down your face, and it just ended up tearing the hell out of my skin. So that's why I went to the mask to get a little bit more air.
Yeah, because goalies are pretty crazy about their equipment sometimes. Were you apprehensive at all? Or was the mask that much of a pain in the ass where you were willing to try anything?
Yeah, I'm not that. The only thing is, like, my trapper, I didn't let anybody touch it because it's
brass knuckles in it.
Yeah. It's on your hand, and you can't have other people with bigger hands or smaller hands and start playing with the straps. So it happened to me one game, and I almost strangled a kid for it. But other than that, the blocker I didn't care about. I could use anything. In fact, one time in Springfield, that all my equipment got stolen out of the dressing room. And the only thing they didn't take was my mask back in that day. And I came in, and the trainer ran out to me, and I look at my stall, and he wants to talk to me, and I just put my hand up and just went. And I sat down. I had brand new skates. Everything was brand new. Pants, arm pads, everything. So I put it on. I went out and played the game, and then I came back in. The trainer runs over to me, and he says, I tried to tell you we got robbed last night, and the only thing they took was all your equipment. And I just said, so what? I said, you had to buy all this stuff new? And he says, yeah. So the idea, you got to break it in, you don't. You just put it on and go play.
Huh, interesting. I want to bring up the first cup run with you guys. Now, Philly had run away with the division. Boston, Montreal, Buffalo all had a lot more points. You guys might not have been the chalk that year, but when did it all start to click for the Islanders team? Was it during the late in the regular season, first round of the playoffs when you beat the Kings the first series? When did it all start coming together where you knew you were going to be a force to be reckoned with?
Well, I don't know. I think it was that year that Clark Gillies was going to buy a Porsche. And when we won the first series, he says, okay, guys, I got the frame. And then we won the next series. He says, I got the tires and I got the engine, guys. So I don't know. So it was kind of like comical. Like Clark Gillies was our comedian. So it was kind of comical. Like every time we did something, he'd say, I'm getting closer to my car. I'm getting closer to my car. And like Philly, like when we played Philly, I don't know how many bench clearings we had against them. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Like, and I think that was one of the things that enabled us to beat Philly was we knew we were going to have to fight. We had it in our head we were going to fight. So they couldn't intimidate us anymore. And I think really that's what helped us win against Philly.
Would you square off with their goalie? Whoever it was?
Oh, I fought Bob Kelly. I was looking for Bobby Clark, but I could never find him. I used to yell at him after the fight was over. I'd be yelling at him, I was looking for you. But it's...
Man. In practice, like, was Mike Bossy as amazing at scoring as it was normal for him in games? Like, is he the one guy you look back like, God, I couldn't stop him? Yeah,
he was a natural. You know, like he said one thing to me that I still remember, and I always laugh. He says, I always shot for the middle of the net, and I end up picking a corner. So think about it, guys. He didn't look at the net. He knew where the net was, and he made sure he hit the net. And think of it today, how many guys come down and try to pick that little piece of a corner or whatever and end up shooting it over the net or shooting it wide. Got to hit the net. If it's on the net, it has a chance of going in.
What's crazy about Bossy, he has the most goals per game ever in NHL history, .762 ahead of, Lemieux, Gretzky, Bure, Ovechkin, all these huge names, and just goes to show how good of a goal scorer he was.
So injuries hurt him, right? He had injuries at a younger age, pretty much?
I think it was his back that ended up putting him out. Yeah. But he was, like, people say to me, well, what would you say about Bossy? What would you say about Bossy? And I says, Mike Bossy came to every game ready to play. He wanted to score goals. And they said, well, you're not giving him a very high recommendation. I says, I will take a superstar like that shows up every game to play and doesn't have a bad game. I'll take him every day of the week.
Now, during this run, Billy, only one team put you guys on the verge of elimination. Let's see, it was Pittsburgh Penguins in the 82 first series there that went 5 games. They took you to overtime. Why, of all these great teams that you played, what were the Penguins the only one to get you to the point of elimination? They weren't a particularly good team.
Well, I think one year the Rangers brought us to 7 games and we beat them in overtime. You got it
in your face, RA, right,
yeah.
Billy? Is that you could say it?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. Like the hardest, like in 80, 81 and 82, the hardest teams to get by were the first and second round because they got nothing to lose. And we were sitting there with supposedly the best team ever. And if we lost out in the first round, we'd have been criticized forever. So really, the superstar teams that win the Stanley Cup the year before, the toughest one is the first round because the other team has nothing to lose. And you got everything to lose.
Is this just more things that I read from crappy reporters who are trying to stir the pot? Were you known as a bit of a guy to throw a dive once in a while? Like if you were to get touched, would you be a little bit? Would you throw a little salt and pepper on it, Billy?
No worse than anybody else. I could name you dozens of guys that. No, like I said, I was obviously I didn't go looking for it. Really, as much as I did, I didn't go looking for it. I stayed in my crease. It's guys that ran through my crease or stand right in front of the net. You got to move them one way or the other. And it's the old saying, if you make an example of one person, 3 or 4 guys aren't even going to come near you. So you might have to hit somebody really hard one game.
When you won all these cups, Billy, this kind of predated what we do now. Everyone gets their day with the cup. So what was a standard celebration like for you after winning the cup back then?
Tell you a story, guys. You realize I never touched the cup on the ice in all 4 cups.
Wow.
You'll never see me holding the cup on the ice.
Do you regret it, or was that just random in the first year and you kept with it?
No, because he liked to be out of the rink in 10 minutes. You said that earlier.
He's at the bar already. He's with some cops on horses.
It was just something that I really didn't need to do. All the other guys were so excited and they wanted to grab it and everything. And when I took, there was a restaurant called Cafe Continental. And what I would do is the first year I walked into the Cafe Continental with the Stanley Cup and put it on the guy's counter. And he couldn't believe it. He just says, totally caught off guard. So when we won it the next year, I get a phone call the next day. You got to tell me when you're bringing it. And I says, well, when do you want it? And he told me the date. And I just said to the guys, I need the cup this day. I'm taking it to Bruno's. And Clarkie would come. Butch Goring would come, like 4 or 5 of the guys would come. He'd close down the whole restaurant and only invite special clients to the restaurant. And he'd cook everybody a meal. And that's the only time I didn't even have it at my house until the last year. And it was my wife that said, you got to bring it home and let the neighbors see it. So I says, okay, hon. And I got a couple of my buddies that own delis. They brought long deli sandwiches and that. And I put it on the front yard. And told everybody the cup will be here this day. If you want to see it, come on over.
You must have that Sports Illustrated cover frame somewhere, though, huh? May 23rd, 1983. Got the whole cover to yourself?
Oh, yeah, it was interesting. They came and they saw the big hot tub, and they said, "Oh, this would be a great shot." So we filled her up, and it was interesting. Yeah, I got a couple of copies, I think, somewhere.
What about in your career? What was the normal summer activities? I mean, are you working out in the gyms then? Is that even began in terms of training in the summers? What was your off seasons like?
Oh, I golfed a lot.
Love it.
I like
Sandbagger.
Yeah, I like to run. So I'd go out, I'd get up in the morning, put on a pair of gym shorts, shoes, run 3-4 miles. As far as lifting anything, not really, but I worked around my yard lifting stones and everything else, and that was my weight training. But other than that, we didn't do much other than that.
Just drink beers, a couple Budweisers. And one of the most famous stories is, I think, what was it, your Jersey retirement night? They brought you out 31 cases of Budweiser.
Actually, that night that I went out and they took the picture of me on the ice with the Bud in my hand. The next day, my deli friend calls me and he says, I got something for you. I'm coming by the house. And I said, okay, come on back. He came by with a beer cooler for draft beer, holds a half keg, comes. I go, who gave me this? Oh, they saw you from Budweiser, so they sent you a whole keg of beer and a dispenser. I said, very nice. So I had my own draft beer container at home.
There you go, right from the tap.
Can't beat that. Billy, we've had guys on before who've both won and lost the Stanley Cup, and you guys, after 4 in a row, lost the Stanley Cup final 4-1 to Edmonton. Guys have said the sting of losing lingers more than the joy of winning, but is that true if you win 4 Stanley Cups?
I don't know how to answer that because I'm a little different. They beat us. You walk out of the rink, it's over. Did you play the best you could play? Yes. You just got beat by a better team. So live with it. And that's the way I feel.
Another thing I learned about you was you didn't like to watch your highlights, any of your game footage, correct?
I never do.
So how would you study to see how guys shot? You just wouldn't do it. You just remember up top.
Think about yourselves, guys. Don't you remember all the big stuff you do? I can remember fights. I can remember everything. It's your mistake. Like after the game, it's like it's in your head. You can remember. So when you made real bad mistakes and you just correct them.
There's another photo shoot of you too, Billy. It looks like you're at a pond or something or a lake somewhere, and you got full pads on, your glove, your waffle, the stick, and you're just sitting in like one of those 1970s style beach chairs drinking a fruity drink.
I'm looking at this too.
What was the story behind that photo shoot?
It's somebody that got a bright idea. And, in the later years, everybody wanted publicity and to do things. I really didn't care to do it. But they said, you got to do this. You got to do this. And like the one thing I hated doing was when we were on the Zamboni and the drive for 5. And for me, if I was on the other team and I saw that team doing that, I'd give everything I had to beat them. And, you just don't antagonize anybody. Remember when some guys would say something about the other team, and you come in the next day and it's pinned right on the blackboard saying, this is what they think of you guys. What do you think of it? Everybody gets stirred up. Now they're ready to play. I said, leave it alone. Let's just play the game and keep your mouth shut until it's all over.
We asked Trotch about this. I think it was like a charity talent show back on the island back in the day. You guys look like a bunch of playboys. The local news covered it. I think it was Bobby Nystrom and like one of the banana hugger with the fur coat on. Were you at that event that night? That looked like a pretty wild time.
No, I didn't have that kind of body to be putting anything on.
Me neither.
I can relate.
I was more, they called me the junkie guy. So, modeling I wouldn't get away with.
Very limber. You had a milk bag body. Were they not doing fitness testing in camp then?
Oh, I think me and Trutch were the highest fat content.
They used to pinch it. They used to bring out the scalpers.
Yeah. And then Then they try to get you into the hot tub and hold your breath. And I go, oh.
Come on, that was one of the tests. You had to hold your breath underwater.
You had to blow. You had to go underneath the water, blow all the air out of your body. And I don't know how. I did it once, and I said, "That's it. I'm done."
Dr. Kevorkian lab at the Islanders facility, getting you guys ready for your cup run.
You know what? Like I said, if I'm not playing well enough, just trade me and leave me alone. You know, it's not like
it ain't that complicated.
It isn't. Like today, it's different. Like today, everybody's fat. It's a different game today. In our day, just show up, play to the best of your ability, and leave it at that.
Do you still follow it very closely? And if so, who are your favorite goaltenders now? Who are the guys you like watching?
I couldn't tell you half the goalies in the league right now. I very seldom watch a game. You know, if there's a bunch of fights like Washington and the Rangers, that big fight they had that game, you knew. I watched Sports Channel the next day. They didn't even have it on. I had to go to my internet to watch it. And by the way, congratulations. If this is the Ranger guys, congratulations. I'm really glad you came back and stood up for yourselves.
Nice. Yes, Billy. Let them know. What'd you think of the initial incident? Do you think Tom Wilson should have been suspended?
I've done a few crazy things myself. So what I didn't like about it was the guy was down with his head down. If you're going to cross-check him, let him get on his feet and then do it. You know, there's no need to do it when somebody's, you know, not in a position to protect himself.
Do you think the Rangers, the Capitals in some way knew that the Rangers sort of needed to redeem themselves? That's why they had no problem fighting them from the jump there? Do you think they recognized the position their owner put them in? Oh,
absolutely. I mean, in our day, it would have just been a bench clearing right there. Right there and then it'd have been a bench clearing. And the good thing about the bench clearing, a lot of guys that aren't fighters don't rush off the bench. And it's so you know, they've stopped that. Remember when, I don't know if you guys remember back when the first rule was the first guy off the bench got a $200 fine.
$20 each additional guy.
He'd be pushing teammates over the boards.
Oh, just the first guy leaving the bench would get a $200 fine and a few games or whatever. And I remember standing on top of the boards, hanging onto the glass, looking at their bench to see who was the first to get off the bench, because I wasn't going to lose $200.
So you'd be the next guy.
I'll be the second guy.
WrestleMania. Hey, actually, that was one of the suspensions I got in the NHL. I got 10 games because they said I came off the bench to defend a teammate. Billy, they dinged me for $70,000.
Wow.
$70,000, but I got it reduced to 3 games and it only cost me 11, but still.
He's been trying to get it back ever since.
But now
Here's 20, swipe up.
Yeah. You fucking assholes. These guys, Billy, I'm the punching bag on the podcast. Who is the punching bag in the Islanders locker room? Who was always the butt of the joke?
Well, Al Arbour used to give it to Dennis Potvin all the time.
Really?
Oh, it was, and I think Al did it, and he did it at the best time. And Dennis would just get mad. Like tell you a quick story. We're in the Garden one night, and we're losing in the second period. We're not playing bad, but we're losing. And Al Arbour comes in, and he just out of the blue, and he kicks a garbage pail over and everything. And he turns to Dennis. He says, "Dennis, I'm getting upset with you skating up and down with that piano on your back." He says, "But it pisses me off when you stop to play it." Well, we're all sitting there, and then Al just stormed out of the room. We're all sitting there, and then we realized what he said, and we're all just kind of, we didn't want to laugh in front of Dennis. We still got the third period to play. Well, Dennis goes out in the third period, and he's pissed. He hit 2 or 3 guys, and the rest of us looked at each other and said, "Okay, boys, we better pick it up or he's going to do it all by himself." And we ended up winning. And it was just like Al giving him little zings all the time. And fortunately for me, he didn't do anything to me because I was the type that I might get up and zing him. So Al knew his players. He knew how to get them going. And it was interesting.
Bill, you were the last original New York Islander. You retired in 1989. Now, were you happy the way things went down? Did you have offers from other teams, or were you content to finish your career as a New York Islander?
Actually, I asked my agent to see if anybody was interested in me before I signed the last contract. I almost went to the Rangers. Remember when Phil Esposito was GM at the Rangers there?
Yep.
He called me up and he asked me if I would play for the Rangers. And I said to him, I said, on one condition. And he goes, what's that? I says, I play every game against the Islanders.
Wow.
And he laughed. And he says, I promise you, you'll play every game against the Islanders. And the funny thing about it is it was the accountant that stopped me from going to the Rangers. It was the accountant. He says, there's no way we can have him come and play here. And Phil and me knew each other. And Phil says, I'm telling you right now, with him here, this team will change. And they just cut it out. And the other teams, I would have loved to play in Toronto. But like, again, you got somebody else doing it for you. And you don't really know what's going on. So I'd give the guy 3-4 teams that I would have liked to have gone to. And it seemed like nobody had an interest.
Was that something that, because you talk to a lot of guys, first couple of years can be hard. You know, you miss the boys, you miss having the normal grind of what you're doing. And was that the case for you, or were you pretty cool with being retired and having it all be over?
I was okay with it. Yeah, I was 39. I was okay with it.
Unreal run too.
Yeah, and the thing is, I was became goalie coach, and I got to work with the kids in the minors and that, and it was frustrating. You know, like you try to teach them something new, and right now they all go to their knees. And back then, you got a guy 5'10" playing on his knees. Well, it doesn't work. You give up too much net. So I'd try to teach them how to poke check, how to play angles and stuff like that. And I always would say, it's not that difficult. Watch me. I'd go in and do drills with no equipment on. I'm going, guys, they can't get around my stick. I'd use drills with pylons. So I knew the guy had to get around the pylon. They'd drop their heads all the time. I'd just step out and poke check them. And I'd go, what's so difficult about this? And
like more.
Yeah, or shots from the point. I used to go in with no equipment on, just gloves, stick, skate, and stick. And I'd have guys shoot on me from the blue line. And I wouldn't give a rebound. And I'd go, guys, why are you going to your knees? Just catch the puck. There's nobody in front of you. And the first thing they do, as soon as the guy brings the stick up, he's on his knees. You can't do that. You can't get away with that.
Now, with your style or technique, did it even have a name when you played? They didn't even really have names for these things back then, if it even was a style.
I don't think I had a style. I was unorthodox. I don't know. I just
Stop the puck.
That's right. You're only there for one reason. Do it.
One thing, who did we talk to about this? Jeff Merrick, I believe, and he thought how crazy it was. It's taken till very recently for basically every team to have a goalie coach. Now, was there someone that you could turn to if something was off at any point, as far as a coach or a mentor? Like, what would you do to fix your mechanics? Or
Eddie Jockman came to me from the Rangers. We had him there for about a year, and he was good. Eddie Jockman also. Just little things you would do wrong. Like they taught me how to stop the puck behind the net, how to set it up, such little things. You're not going to change the way I play. You'll never, anybody in the NHL, you shouldn't be trying to change. You just want to try to see what mistakes he's making. And if it's the same mistake all the time, just bring it to his attention. This is what you're doing wrong. This is how you can fix it, if you can. I know goalies, when I coached, they would do the same thing wrong all the time. And I would say, if I'm playing against you, all I'm going to do is go down the board, shoot it low. You're going to keep the puck right back out front. So if I'm playing against you, I'm just going to shoot to that spot all the time. And I'm going to have two guys ready out front to get the rebound and go around you. And they can't, a lot of them couldn't correct it. So that's why, like, certain goalies can play good all year long, and then they get into playoffs and guys bear down on what they do wrong. and they'll go to their weaknesses, and that's how they beat them.
Let me just hop in there, because without watching your highlights or any of your video, you said you were just able to remember all these mistakes you were making. Where you just you were just able to correct them from that, I guess.
One year we played, who was it? I think it was Vancouver. We played in the last series, but the series before, Howie Meeker, I think it was, come out and he's ranting and raving. All you got to do in this guy is shoot high, just shoot high. And the game before, the series before, everything was scrambles. So I was going down on everything because it was in close. It was scrambles. I was diving. I was rolling around. So Howie Meeker, the genius he is, he said, all you got to do is shoot high on this guy. So we went against Vancouver. Everybody's shooting from my waist and above. I don't think I went down on my knees once. I just stood there and caught the puck. And I'm going, this is the easiest series I've ever had. But you got to change. You got to change your style. You know what I mean? If you're just doing the same thing all the time, you should be able to play a little bit on your feet. Look now when you're watching the games now. You're watching how many goals are being scored from bad angles.
Whereas if you're staying up that extra second, it's not going in when you're standing on the goal line with zero angle. It's impossible.
How many goals have you seen from the other side of the dot, almost against the boards, going in right up top here? And that's all the guys are doing. They know they're going to, where if the guy had just stayed on his feet, you can't score from there. If he had just stayed on his feet, it'd have hit him in the middle of the chest. But they go down and they leave that little opening.
That's where I used to shoot, middle of the chest.
The middle of the
just
chest.
like Mike Bossy, Biz. You and Boss had a lot in common.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This guy is nonstop, man, all over me all the time. I wanted to bring up the more current Islanders, and do you see a lot of similarities in the way that teams played from when they went through that run, given the structure and the system, good goaltending, good defensive game?
Well, what I like about the Island, when they brought Lou in, that was the best thing they could have possibly done. And Lou is building an organization just like he did with the, New Jersey and everything else. He is really good. And that is what has turned the Islanders around as far as I'm concerned. He's got young guys in there that work hard. They're working together. Great coaching staff. They're on their way. They're going the right way finally.
I know the Collies had more lives than a cat lately. They keep closing it and opening it. But do you wish they could have just put all that money in and just salvaged it, kept it there, and rebuilt it from the guts out?
That's what I said they should have done from the beginning, was just the building didn't have to be that much higher. What they just needed to move the ice over into the middle of the building because they have a huge area down below. Just move it over, put in the super box suites and everything. It's a great area right where it is. Roosevelt, where they're going, I'm not Belmont. I'm not that familiar with that area.
Well, Billy, this has been a blast. And I think that it's cool for us and a lot of our younger listeners, Biz mentions this, to hear about guys that they don't know a lot about, right? I mean, you came before them, and what a legacy. So Hockey Hall of Fame and all those Stanley Cups, and we had a blast talking with you.
Guys, I enjoyed it. Keep it going.
And Billy, I usually ask at the end of these interviews, especially with legends like yourself, was there one story that you thought maybe you would tell on here that's a pretty fun one behind the scenes that you think would bring a smile to a lot of our fans' faces?
I don't think I was that funny of a guy off the ice. I mean, more or less a story
that pops in your mind, even if it's about somebody else.
Okay, I'll tell you. My son's over here listening. My buddies at Madison Square Garden, there was one guy, big Swede, on the horse. He had a horse, and we had just beat the Rangers, and there's a whole bunch of drunks outside, so we're all in the bus and everything, and we're going out. And as we're going out, you gotta make the left-hand turn, the long turn to go down the light and make a right. So we're there, and one of these drunk fans had a stick in his hand, a big stick in his hand. And like I drank a 24 with all these guys. And the one big Swede, I mean, huge, he was 6'6", bodybuilder. And we're laughing and everything. And he's banging, the guy's running beside the bus, banging his stick on the bus. And all of a sudden, some of the guys go, "Smitty, what is this?" Here comes the Swede on his horse. and he's riding. And he grabbed the guy by the hair and threw him over the back of the horse onto the top. Then he rode out into the middle of the intersection, pulled the horse back. So if you can imagine, the horse is on its hind legs. He's got his hat off, waving to the bus driver to keep going. So the bus driver drove off. We get back, and I'm going off the bus. And the bus driver looks at me. Who are you? I go, what do you mean? He says, I can't believe, I've never seen anything like that in my life. I said, I was just one of my friends. that was one of the things, like, you just can't believe it happens, or it would happen.
It was one of the Budweiser Colts, too.
Yeah,
or the big
Clydesdale.
Yeah, there's Clydesdale. Just like a perfect commercial.
Some Game of Thrones stuff going on.
Perfect.
Well, hey, we appreciate all your time, and thank you so much for coming on. Our fans are going to love this, and we love getting you legends on. Congratulations on an incredible career.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Huge thanks to Billy Smith for joining us. Great interview. Love talking about him, about that Lanny McDonald fight. That's pretty wild stuff. Not too often you see a skater go at a goalie. Great clip. Look it up. We'll make sure to tweet it out from the account, too. Also, going to mention student loans. They're terrible. Who wants them? So you can say goodbye to stressful student loan payments and take charge of your future with Earnest. Earnest offers low-rate student loan refinancing. You can check your rate risk-free in just 2 minutes. With Earnest, you get radically flexible payments, and you can pick your loan term. By refinancing, you can reduce your loan term, save money, or combine multiple loans into a simple monthly payment. And if you have questions, you can even talk to a real-live human being at Earnest for help. Isn't it time you stop feeling overwhelmed by your student debt? Right now, Earnest is giving our listeners a $100 bonus. Refinance your student loans at earnest.com/chiclets. Terms and conditions apply. Not available in all states. Visit earnest.com/chiclets for more details. Like I said, terms and conditions apply. Earnest student loan refinancing made possible by Earnest Operations, LLC, NMLS number 1204917. California Financing Law License number 6054788. 303 2nd Street, Suite 401N, San Francisco, California, 94107. Visit earnest.com/licenses for a full list of licenses. Thank God.
Sent over from Mrs. Higginbotham's class to Gertrude's sixth grade class, and Mike
Mrs.
dropped
Kane,
it.
my first teacher crush. I was 6, dude, and I had a crush on my teacher. She had bombs.
He wasn't just advanced at reading.
Hey,
he wasn't just advanced at
this
reading.
is probably wrong to say, but RA was like faking, like, hey, asking questions, so she'd come over and he can get a look at the old jammers.
Yeah, for sure.
You know he was doing
Guilty.
Do you know he was? What a scumbag.
I can't even picture.
Cancel
I can't
RA.
picture it, actually.
Cancel him.
I was getting bonked even as a 6-year-old. Doge
Six.
Dog is bonking
Cancel
the
him.
shit out of me.
Get this guy off.
Oh, shit. All right, hey, big day for Canada, Biz. They beat Finland in overtime to win the IIHF Gold Medal World Championships. Senator to Senator won at Connor Brown over to Nick Paul. A nice 2-on-1. How about the fucking 3-on-3 in overtime, dude?
To win a gold medal.
That was fucking insane, dude. That looked like something from the future.
How about that Finnish guy with the face-off responsibility on the offensive zone? Whoopsie.
Gotta be ready in OT.
Whoopsie daisy.
3-on-3 is weird, though. You don't sometimes know what you're supposed to do off the draw.
He put his one piece right over the left post. But, hey, Luongo, incredible job. Shane Doan helped out as well. There's
no surprise.
Gallant was there. He'll be in the NHL again soon. This group of guys, they went over. They lost their first 3 games. Darcy Kemper, Arizona Coyotes, keep the change. Aiden Hill as well. And there was one other Coyote, but I'm fucking forgetting his name.
Connor Gallant, but he's on the U.S. Sorry, did I put you?
No,
He had a sick tournament.
They
won bronze. Congrats to the bronze.
But they lost their first 3 games. They go over there. They figure out a way. And Gallant just, he's a player coach. He has the ability to bring a group together, and they did. Mangiapane was probably the best player for Team Canada. He ends up getting named the MVP of the tournament. Remember when he held out, I think, was it last summer or the summer before? I think he was getting a little bit spicy with the contract talks. And, hey, there's a fucking guy you're going to now want to keep along here, Calgary. You have to buck up for Mangiapane. And why are you laughing, all right?
That was funny, guy.
No, thank you.
I'm laughing.
But congratulations to that group of guys going over there, winning a gold medal, especially under difficult circumstances. Yeah. We ended up having Blackwell on. Colin Blackwell plays for the Rangers. He went to the tournament playing for the United States, who won a bronze medal. But we got him coming probably next week.
Masterton finalist as well.
and a Masterton finalist. But
yeah, and you'll hear his story. He's been through a lot to get where he's at right now. It's a really cool interview. That's next week, though.
People downplaying the tournament because it didn't have like the normal stars as usual. Hey, country versus country, way to go Canada, another gold medal in the bank. We're not going to make a movie about it, but we're just going to put it in the stash and move along.
Yeah. Everybody else is just kind of shrugged. So, congrats, Canada.
Yep. Congrats on the North Division.
Spade. Moving right along, the Selke finalists are announced. We got Barkov, Bergeron, and Stone. No surprise for Bergie. 10th straight for Bergie. He's tied with Bob Gainey. 10th straight finalist. The 10th straight time he's been a finalist. He's won 4, tied with Bob Gainey. Probably going to win 5 this year. I think with some of these awards, it's almost like the more you get nominated, it's like the Meryl Streep effect.
But he is like earning it every season.
He absolutely is. So
is that back-to-back episodes we mentioned Meryl Streep?
Probably. I might have done it before. Who knows?
I feel like we have a bunch of times.
You think Stoney wins it, or you think Bergeron wins it?
No, not even Barkov doesn't even have a chance.
I think he's better. I think he's better offensively than he is defensively. But I mean, hey, he kills penalties. He eats up a lot of clock, and he's able to produce those numbers. Yeah, yep. Maybe he gets his first, but I think it's either between Mark Stone or
Patrice, the captain.
Patrice. There was a bunch of other awards that were out this week, weren't there?
The Lady Byng finalist, Austin Matthews, Jared Spurgeon, Jacob Slavin. Only 3 defensemen have won that. Slavin, obviously, defenseman.
I think Slavin gets his. Year?
Yeah. I mean, that's such a
it's a tummy stick award.
Coin flip. You don't know. I mean, it's the fucking Lady Byng. You know,
it's the tummy stick.
The guys I mean, I know it's an honor and all, but the guys getting nominated for it. Do you think at the end of the day?
I'm sure there's some players that would be honored to be. I think some players would be honored. I think other players maybe I don't know. Your goal is to not be up for the Lady Byng if you're playing on the third line. I mean, that's just kind of a fact. But still, it's an NHL award.
Like Krejci ain't getting the fucking Lady Byng because he does the bag taps. Controlled bag taps, but he ain't getting the Lady Byng. I've given a few bag taps.
Yeah, you weren't getting the Byng.
I ain't getting the Byng.
You're just going to the bottom.
Take away the fighting. I probably still wouldn't be up for the Byng. Who's the other guys? Slavin, Matthews, and who?
And Spurgeon.
Jared Spurgeon. Yeah.
Who do you think? I think Slavin wins his first.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I've had it. Like I said, it's the Lady Byng. Who knows? I mean, I think that's another one the writers vote on.
Matthews. You said it was Matthews, right?
Yeah.
He get the rock over shot. He doesn't need the Lady Byng.
Yeah, and that's like when the writers vote too. You never know which way they're going to go. A lot of them play homer. A lot of them don't see guys play. They got to rely on reading about them and reading fancy stats and that type of shit. So, all right,
hater.
Yeah. Gang, we've all become OCB rolling papers guys here on Spittin' Chiclets, especially this week. OCB is the largest rolling paper brand in the world and has been one with nature, crafted naturally since 1918. So you know they've perfected the process for a consistently great session time after time. In perfect harmony with natural, sustainable practices, the highest quality textile papers responsibly sourced and sustainably crafted have always been the OCB signature. Unlike most brands that buy their paper from a third party, OCB oversees the entire paper-making process, ensuring a century of quality straight to your hands. The paper booklets are made in a facility that's powered by 100% green energy. Also, try the OCB bamboo. These papers are unreal. It's your new second favorite plant. In 2020, OCB rolled out America's first ultra-thin, slow-burning bamboo rolling paper in cones that have been taking the market by storm. Again, I've been using these. Highly recommend them. The fibers are 100%. French milled bamboo. The paper style is unbleached. They're harvested responsibly, highly sustainable, chlorine-free, dye-free, bleach-free, even burning, naturally, always sticks, acacia gum, no tear, GMO-free, and vegan. Ask for OCB rolling papers wherever you buy your papers and sample the entire line of products. In the meantime, OCB has an incredible deal for our listeners. Go to OCBUSA.com/chiclets and get 4 booklets of OCB and a rolling tray for just $4.99. Sick deal. It's worth $20. It's a limited time only. Follow OCB on Instagram at OCBUSA to stay in touch with the natural wonder of OCB. Must be 21 plus to buy the papers and follow the social accounts. But again, OCBUSA.com/chiclets. 4 booklets and a rolling tray for $5.
Can't beat it.
Cannot beat it. I was going to say my usual line that I don't want to offend any sponsors, but save that for another one. All right, gang, moving right along here. We want to send out congrats to Taya Curry. She's a goaltender who became the first female ever chosen in the priority selection when the Sarnia Sting took with the 267th overall pick. So congrats to Taya. We'll be rooting for you. See what happens. Good for her. A couple surgeries to note. Gino, Evgeny Malkin had successful surgery on his knee. He's not expected for camp. And Max Domi had successful surgery on a torn labrum. He's going to be out 5 to 6 months as well. What else?
You could tell Gino wasn't himself.
Yeah.
He's battling through injury.
Yeah.
He's still getting enough done through injury.
Yeah, I know. Looking back on it.
I feel bad criticizing his game a little bit.
Big news. It actually transpired. Well, it sounded like a shitty fight, but Jake Paul? I don't know them about Jake Paul.
Logan the other Paul, Logan.
Yeah, see,
Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
I just read on Twitter it was very boring.
Yeah, I mean it's an exhibition. There's no judges. There's no score. Nobody won.
But they both got bank.
Yeah, I mean it just felt like a grift. It felt like they basically hoodwinked everybody for their money.
Yeah, and this will continue, and I guess all the people of. I mean, watching Mayweather, right? I understand buying it, but if the YouTube guys, if they keep fighting and people are buying it, it's only going to get bigger and bigger.
I think
boxing's dead. That's a tough scene.
Yeah.
Oh.
What's going on in boxing?
In a sense
Canelo's a blast to watch
he's a
fight.
beast. Yeah,
that last Canelo fight was a joy to watch.
But if you can kind of manipulate that industry like that, it kind of feels like it's getting watered down.
But it's not really. It's not really that industry though, because they're not even sanctioned fights. They're like you could do this at the Knights of Columbus with your buddies. It's the same.
That's what I was just gonna say. Where it sucks is when the YouTubers start fighting guys like Floyd Mayweather. If YouTubers want to fight each other, I think that's sick. Beat the shit out of each other. That's great.
Oh yeah.
And Jake Paul, he's fighting all these other once you start doing the real boxers. That's when it's all right, we're kind of fucking with the sport here. That's Floyd Mayweather. That's not was
this my lowering the mound moment?
If Floyd Mayweather knocked him out in the first round, it would have been pretty
that would have been awesome for boxing.
Yeah, but instead he went out and it just sounds like one thing said it was like a spar, but
a couple Lady Byngs.
Yeah, it said it's loaded.
Well, Tommy sticks.
Got that one. Got that one.
I'm on fire tonight.
Yeah, you are, and I'm not even catching
Delete
them.
the bad ones though.
I think that people don't understand that we're kind of trying to think of what we may say next. We don't even listen to each other. I miss everything. Logan Paul. It came out he makes $14 million a year. Who knows what he made for this fight? So all these YouTube guys, and he's whatever. He's been around the longest. If they make all this money, you got to think some of these kids are going to go broke. These guys spend I'll just go on the YouTube and. How old am I? I'll go on YouTube and watch some of the videos. They're buying ridiculous shit. I don't know. Will their stream of revenue end up running out at some point? Can you as a YouTube star lose popularity pretty quickly?
Oh my God! If you get demonetized on YouTube, which you're starting to see because it's the cancel culture, people are getting canceled left and right.
Okay, so but not that. I'm sorry to interrupt. I mean, just all of a sudden he's there's been a guy or a girl that's not cool or popular anymore.
It happens all the time. All the time.
Yeah, so the way they're making bank, but there's one speaking. I'm speaking right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just weird. The whole lifestyle. It's crazy and how different and how younger kids want to be YouTube stars. It's just a thing that I know nothing about. But the amount of money you're seeing is nuts.
I just want to be the one that posts dog photos and can monetize that. Mr. Finnegan on there or something.
You should just start doing Mr.
Richard
Finnegan
Mills.
raps, and then you can remix them. You can throw the auto tune on there. Mr. Finnegan, I love you. Mr.
The old Tiesto remix.
Yeah, exactly.
Couple disco.
Hey,
we can get the disco biscuits for dogs.
Get the chest pumping.
Mr. Finnegan brand fucking Molly.
Yeah, disco biscuits.
There's 20 promo code
with CBD insertion.
Have you ever been? Either of you guys ever been
dog
to
condoms?
A major boxing match in Vegas?
No, I would.
It's fucking awesome. It's
so I'm
electric.
watching that Tyson documentary. I think I'm watching on demand. It was at ABC Sports. It was just recently.
I'm not sure. I didn't see it.
The vibe in his fights, I can't imagine. They showed one night. It was Jordan, Magic Johnson, Oprah. It was the who's who. It was when he fought Spinks, the dummy.
90
Oprah?
seconds, dude. They're talking about a fight that needed a Roman swipe.
Oprah was
Did I
going?
say Oprah? Oprah was. Yeah, she was there. She had her coif up high. She looked fantastic. Yellow dress on, I think. But
I think she's
a big time
I love Oprah.
champ fight in Vegas looks like a scene.
Unreal. I've seen a couple of big fights out there. It's awesome. It's just a whole like an electric.
It just seems UFC is
Yeah, that's where it's at.
a little
now.
more entertaining right now.
Yeah, no, it's definitely.
Chiclets live streams.
But that Canelo fight was better than UFC for me.
Chiclets live streams.
I got a little brag.
Borelli's.
I was at Gotti Wood too down in Atlantic City. One
No
of the
idea.
Greatest boxing
Oh
trilogies
yeah,
ever.
Arturo Gotti fought Mickey Ward, who's from Boston area. Lowell,
yeah.
and
Fighter.
and watch the movie The Fighter. Christian Bale's.
that's what it
Christian
was?
Bale's in it. He plays his brother, who's like a junkie.
Mark plays Mickey Wood, who fought Arturo Gotti 3 times.
So I don't know what fight it was. It was definitely the first or second because I remember watching the third like leading up to it. I remember my father was like, "Come down, you got to watch this fight through 3 rounds." It was on ESPN. It was the first one. So it was ESPN.
Yeah.
Why? It was
Yeah.
just they were punching the shit out of each other's faces.
If you watch this fight,
Second one.
it is one of the most ridiculous boxing matches you've ever seen. Beating the shit out of each other. It's unreal. And they ended up going 3 times. And it was like, the most famous trilogy of fights.
Yeah,
Maybe
arguably. I mean, you obviously
Sick.
you got Frazier Ali,
I got
but
goosebumps
like,
listening to this.
not lightweights, right? Middleweights?
I think
they're not heavy.
They're below middleweight. I think below middleweight.
I don't give a fuck about boxing. I think Canelo is like the coolest fucking cat.
Yeah, he's a stallion.
Stallion. Mexican, got that flair.
I just saw his tweet. He just did the emoji face palm after the fight ended.
Yeah, there's
I think
disrespect in the
I think he
sport.
looks at it like, what the yeah.
You know why? Because I think that Floyd got Canelo before he was fully developed, and I think that Mayweather waited till Pacquiao was past his prime to fight him.
Was that the only fight Canelo lost too?
I think it's his only. I don't know. I think it is his only loss. I was just going to go back quickly to movies. I would say the most emotionally invested I've ever been in a boxing movie is not Rocky. It was the one with Russell Crowe.
Oh, Cinderella Man is so good. When he goes back and pays the poverty money. What's the unemployment money? Remember, he goes and then he goes back and he pays it back, and because he was so embarrassed, like he was so proud. What?
Wait, time out. Okay, so would you say $1 Million Baby?
Oh, well, he was like a man of honor. Like
I'm
dude.
fucking
And then after the movie ended, the craziest part is what he ended up doing. I think they named a bridge after him. I don't know. I don't remember the things, but you read what his life ended up being like. He was a legend. I don't even remember his fucking name. What a scrub I am.
What's who did $1 Million Baby? That's the other one.
Clint Eastwood directed that. Yeah, Cinderella Man. I'm fucking drawing a blank on his name. I know Ron Howard directed it, but Mickey Ward was a light welterweight. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't remember. Yeah, the Cinderella Man was great. He's bringing home, and he comes home from the fight, and the kids and the wife, they don't know, and they're in like the basement, and he's like, I won. And he's got all the cash to turn on like the electricity. Yep. Did they even have electricity?
I think they were eating ham sandwiches.
Yeah, it's just a great movie. That's a good call. But Rocky the original is such a
I was going to ask you.
James
Rocky
Braddock.
4.
James Braddock.
Yeah. Rocky 4.
That's mine. I know it's like the easy answer. I like when he goes to Russia. I like him fucking doing the logs on the big snowbanks. Gets me going, boys.
I was in the theater for that. I want to say it was Rocky 4 was 85, I think. And I'll never forget, the beginning when they had the Russian glove and the American glove. The crowd was going, yeah, boo, like back and forth when each glove was going. The fucking place is going apeshit. You got to remember, this is
Cold War.
The Cold War wasn't over yet. It was close to over, but we didn't know it was close to over. I mean, I know people that think kids have it tough today. We grew up for years not knowing if we were going to have nuclear war, even in the 70s and 80s, dude. So, like, Russia was still this big bad enemy. Everyone thought all the women there were gross, and we had all these things about Russia. Yeah, a bunch of old, the ones or nines or whatever.
Babushkas.
And fucking, it was nuts. The whole theater was
the
going
Ivankas.
ape shit.
A couple Ivankas in there.
Rocky. I mean, I got Rocky's as much a sports movie, I think, as it is like a romantic movie, like a love story. I mean, if you watch it again, it's like, there's only a couple fights in it, and the last, I think, 25 words of the movie, "I love you" said like 11 times over and over and over.
I wonder if they knew, like, when they had that song, dun 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 dun. Did they know that? Oh my god!
It's kind of like the Halloweens.
Yeah, but that scares the shit out of you, and this one just makes you want to do a couple push-ups. But my neck, I got a herniated disc, and then my elbow's messed up.
And how about Sylvester Stallone? Like, he held on to that script for they're like, oh, we'll buy it off you. He's like, no, I'm going to star in it. And he was like eating fucking like cat food or whatever for like months and making like low grade pornos to pay the bills. And
what?
He was in at least one.
Penetration?
No, like the softcore porn,
Softcore.
where they're
Baby
probably
blue,
getting it
too.
in, but they don't show it getting in, like Cinemax type stuff. Like Tyson getting knocked out by Buster
What
Douglas
time is it?
Probably the greatest upset I think
one.
I've ever seen.
Yes.
All right, yeah, we're going to wrap up soon. We did mention the a potential bite among the PLL league. I know they just started up. G, you were telling. Give us a little background here.
Yeah, I mean, just long story short, they the PLL this year and PLL started up last year. They're going to travel from city to city. It's so all the guys are staying together. Barnstorming.
I love that.
And all the guys are staying together. And there was a brawl in a hotel lobby between two of the guys, and apparently one of the guys' finger got bitten off. The PLL released a statement saying basically that there was an altercation. They haven't confirmed or denied the finger thing, but already you sound like you want to take it.
Yeah, Matt Gaudette of the Chrome Lacrosse Club and Austin Starts of the Chaos Lacrosse Club were both suspended indefinitely pending further investigation by the PLL Discipline and Conduct Committee. There was a video online allegedly of Gaudette. I don't know him. I can't vouch for it, but he had a nasty gash in his finger. Somebody tweeted that he was bitten. There was no confirmation or corroboration that that's what happened. It may have, it may not have. We're just passing along what Twitter said. Either way, the gash was fucking nasty. Both guys are suspended. And if that's a bite, man, it better have been from a fish hook.
Last year at a golf course south of Boston, two dudes got in a brawl, whether it was on the course or in the parking lot after, I don't know, and one of the guys bit the other dude's finger off.
Was it Bryson and Brooksy?
Yeah, they'd be like just smacking each other. And they charged the dude with like mayhem. Like I think he's going to prison. Like you can't bite somebody's finger off.
Yeah.
You're going away if you bite
mayhem.
somebody.
Like it wasn't a fish hook. It was just like
It must not have been. I don't know the story, but even if it is a fish hook, if you bite his finger, but yeah, if somebody sticks your finger in your mouth, you bite down, right? So I don't know how that case went down, but I just remember he got charged with mayhem. I was like, that's a real charge? I thought it was just the guy on the commercials.
And this is all over like what? Like a something on the golf course? Like a stroke?
I never knew how it began. It was just the finger being bit off. Go
from the foot wedge to getting your finger bit off.
Man, I really shouldn't have kicked that ball out of the rough. I ended up losing my pinky.
Don't be sandbagging
We're
out
talking
there.
golf. We got to talk about these two.
Yeah, so the feud continues between these guys, and like I said, the PIP program, you're making bank, you're making golf be talked about. Now, the tour doesn't like this. They're deleting videos of all this Brooksy versus Bryson stuff, and what happened was Koepka, who always goes on Pardon My Take, check him out, I was on there today, he hates Bryson, and they're boys with him, and all of a sudden, they decided to say, whenever Bryson hits the ball, say, nice shot, Brooksy, and Pardon My Take, we know this.
Yeah, it just took
and I knew right away, I'm like, this is going to get big.
No.
Well, all of a sudden, they get to the event this week at the Memorial, Jack Nicklaus's course in outside Columbus. Every single swing he's making, people are saying, attaboy, Brooksy. Well, what does he do? Exactly the opposite of what you're supposed to do when you get a nickname you don't like. He decides to start having fans kicked out. He's having security walk around and literally boot people out of the tournament if they say or if they call Bryson DeChambeau Brooksy. So now it's like, dude, you think it's going to go away now? Now this is just the beginning.
I thought when it was reported it was being lied that he was doing.
So the whole day, my thing on Twitter, exactly what happened.
So it's true.
Some kid tweeted out, I've watched 10 people get kicked out for saying attaboy Brooksy. And like, yeah, police are there walking them out. And then it came out, this isn't true. Like, I got a couple replies, so I wrote, hey, apparently this isn't true. All of a sudden, a verified account's like, no. I'm here as well, and I just saw 2 more get the boot. So thin-skinned. This guy won a U.S. Open. So thin-skinned that, like, he's letting this rattle him to the point where they're kicking fans out who paid, and people are saying it's heckling. It's like, is it heckling,
I don't
man?
know. Let's go to RA because
they're not doing it in his backswing.
I'm on the fence about like if this is going to happen through every shot throughout a round. Like, yeah, you're having someone around trying to get in your head.
Okay, it is not golf proper etiquette.
Correct.
But if you're like if the game's growing and this is fabulous for the game, don't even try saying it isn't.
I'm invested.
And all of a sudden, like, yeah, I mean, Bryson DeChambeau has people saying attaboy Brooksy. You know what'll stop it? Winning. And if you never let everyone know it rattled you, it would have gone away to begin with. Now people are, and I saw one kid, he's like, they can't kick us all out. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to start throwing out 100 people around who are yelling "Attaboy Brooksy"? It's crazy. I don't know how the tour goes about.
I'll tell you what
so then
you
the
can
tour's
do.
deleting the video of Brooks giving him the stink eye that started this thing a couple weeks ago at the PGA. It's just crazy that they've gone this in, but DeChambeau just doesn't know how to handle a nickname he doesn't appreciate.
I think Bryson's got to go straight to the DMV or whatever you got to go to change your name and change the first name to Brooksy.
He just changes his name.
Change your name.
What do you got now?
Hey, you said it on PMT today. You got to get ahead of the story.
You got to
With
get ahead of the
Jackman
story.
punch to the head.
You gotta let everyone know that you know it's out there. Hey guys, go look, as opposed to look what we found.
When you went Sleepy Hollow, you got ahead of the story.
Golf has a stick up its ass too sometimes with this stuff.
Yeah,
like
and
deleting videos and shit. It's like
They protect the players. They don't want any image to not look etiquette golf wise. It's like, I don't know, times are changing.
Biz, you should go on the course and like get the YouTube clip of Torts like yelling at Brooksy, but so play it, but like you can't see anybody's mouth move, so all I hear is like Tort chilling Brooksy, so they can't throw anybody out.
Well, hey, and all in the media mess of this is Phil Mickelson still reminding everybody every day that he won the PGA.
Yeah, that might be straight 365. He'll just have little videos in the cart. Just pan over to the Wanamaker Trophy.
And all these guys are fucking all worried about what's going on socially. This guy's just living his best life.
The other golf news, too, was John Rahm birdied 6 of 7 holes, took a 6-shot lead into the final round at the Memorial. And on the green, tour officials tell him that he's tested positive for COVID, he's not vaccinated, and he's out. So he has to then withdraw, but technically he was like DQ. They wouldn't allow him to play. And my whole thing is like, I don't know the setup. If you're vaccinated, it doesn't matter. He's not. I'm not going to get into that. How do you just not tell him in private? They're waiting on the green. Dude, he goes into a tent to sign his scorecard. Can you just tell him in there?
I shouldn't be laughing.
Did
it's like they literally met him when he was picking
No,
up
they weren't socially distanced. They were right next to him. They were like, you're disqualified. Breathing in his nose. And it's like, all right, I guess I can't play. I would sue the tour. He was going to win 100%. He won last year there. He was going to win probably $1.6 million, and now he can't play. Whatever. It's just crazy that they couldn't wait, like, I don't know, 20 feet where he walks and signs his card. The tour.
Yeah, he got to the fringe, and they're just fucking ready.
If we took over, like, I mean, not we. I'm not that in tune with social media, but, like, if our brand and Barstool took over the PGA Tour, it'd be one of the most popular sports on the planet. But they just hide and run from anything that would then get them new eyes and just other listeners or viewers.
I think I kind of love it.
Yeah,
Love what? That they get rid of it all?
It's a story within itself. Like, it's just like people are completely aware it's happening.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So you're
then
like,
they look that dumb. I know what you're saying.
They're completely out of touch. It's amazing. It's actually amazing. It's kind of like baseball. And now hockey's figuring it out.
Well, Scheifele got
move
4
on.
games.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right,
we can. Well, not much left, boys.
Are we done here?
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah,
Thanks.
great catching up with you guys these last 4 days.
Absolutely. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the show. We'll be back again later this week. We got another bonus episode coming later in the week for you. So thanks for tuning in. We love you. Catch you later.
Peace.